He is also involved in a number of other activities. Very good morning to you, Mr. Blake.
Good morning, Mr. Backus, and good morning to all of your listeners.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today. You're here because we are continuing our dialogue on Financial Information Month. Financial Information Month, of course, in another life, it used to be financial literacy back in 2002 when it all started. Sybil and others were all part of that. And now we are in 2020 and it's Financial Information Month. And we're tasked today to talk a little bit about how to manage your money in rainy days or during during the rainy season.
Yeah.
I don't know which one you want to choose. So, one has to assume that you have money before you can manage it. So let's start a conversation with those people who think they don't have any money. And you want to say to them, well, I know you're broke, but even if you're broke, there's some things you can do. So let's begin there. Let's start on a different trajectory, and then we're going to get to those who are sitting comfortable and have a lot of options.
Sure. Those who may think that they have no money may actually have more than they think they do, more than they realize they do. So the first thing you have to do is to take stock. That's to take stock of where you are. All of us, except those who unfortunately may have lost all of their income due to the COVID-19, those who are in particular in the tourism industry, the hotels, restaurants, tour operators, taxis, etc. Most of us have some income. And the first thing we need to start off is by looking at the income that we do have. And then looking at how we could perhaps maximize or supplement that income. What else could I do to generate more income? And then importantly, you have to look at your expenses. What am I spending my money on? And if we were to sit down and list all of the things we spend our money on, maybe on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever have you, you'd be surprised at how you spend your money and how much you spend on things that are not necessary for life. So, and we are all social beings, so we are going to spend money on other things than necessaries. But what I'm saying is that you have to look at, what do I have to do? And first, when you set out a budget, you say, this is the income I have. And then these are the things that I must spend on. And then what is left over is what you would have for those luxury items, those things you want to do but don't necessarily have to do. So in determining whether, in fact, you do have money to save and invest, the first thing you have to do is set out your budget, look at your income, look at all of your areas of expenditure, look at what you must expend money on, your food, your rent, etc., utilities, etc., and then look at the rest of your income. In doing that, though, you should in setting out your expense, you should see savings as an expense, just as you have rent or your mortgage payment or your cable bills, your telephone bills, etc. Set out savings as one of your necessaries. That is something you should do. And a good rule of thumb for persons on average incomes is 10% of your income, ensuring that you can set aside 10% of your income that you will save every single month. And you'd be surprised at the end of the day how much money you do have if you do that.
And again, it comes back to, and I like the way you put that just moments ago when you said, see your savings as an expense. Back in the day, I used to say, pay yourself.
Right, exactly. That's what it is.
Pay yourself. Now, continue along the same vein we are at now. What about if you used to have money, but you don't have money now? Is it time for some introspection, time to see, well, how do you end up here and what can you do from here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you recognize that you're in a bind, so to speak, if you recognize when you set out the budget that your expenses are greater than your income, then of course you have to stop and take stock. What am I doing that I don't need to do? What am I spending on? Look at each item of expenditure and say, look, do I need to do this? Of course, as I said, the necessaries, the food, the rents, the mortgages, your basic utilities, etc. Those are must-dos. So you set those out, and you hopefully those could be covered by your income.
And of course, you can always negotiate, payment plan, things you can do.
Well, and the topic speaks to the rainy day, and I think for a number of persons, they're experiencing the rainy day now because the incomes would have been reduced or maybe even completely wiped out due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you have to stop and think about what you're doing, get some advice, and negotiate with your bank. For example, if you have loans, go and negotiate with your bank. I think the central bank has led the initiative to have the banks provide moratoria for persons who have loans and who are affected by the COVID-19 virus. So sit down and have that conversation with your bank manager. See what you could consolidate. You may have, in addition to your loans, you may have hire purchase agreements with the various persons out there who offer hire purchase. See what you could consolidate. So at the end of the day, you have one payment instead of having to split your salary so many different ways. And in doing that, you'll be surprised how you reduce your expenditure, maybe your debt servicing, if you were to consolidate and have everything built into one. Of course, in these times, you really want to get rid of your highest cost debt. So the credit card bills, those types of things, the hire purchase agreements, those types of things are what you want to do. And I hope if you do have a home, you have some equity in it, you may be able to get a home equity loan where you can refinance and reduce the expense at the end of the month.
And of course, being a bit facetious about this, it's a very serious issue we're talking about, but we're West Indians and we can't talk without a bit of humor. Some people's wants seem to be their needs. So you may say, well, do something sensible. But what about the psychology of it? Some people seem to feel that they're not alive unless they do certain things. One of the things about COVID-19 is that it has shown us that the birds are still singing out there. The waves are still coming in. We still have the sunset and the sunrise, and then realize just how much we really don't need.
Right. Yes. Amazing. We all went through lockdowns. We couldn't go to our favorite bars. We couldn't go to the casino. We couldn't do a lot. And the quality of life that we had, though, the time we spent with our families, the time we spent reading, looking, and doing other things than what we would normally do. We'd go out to do. I think that was very, very enriching. And you mentioned the birds and the crickets, and you hear them more. Before you probably didn't have time to stop to listen. Now, COVID, brought all that back, and you looked at the sunsets, and you see how wonderful they were. You look at the sunrises, and those are the simple but important things that really affect the quality of life beyond what we would normally go out and go out and do.
And there are times you may have some good ideas. Who should you talk to if you have an idea, but you're not sure? But you got to do something about what's happening with you, whether you're taking the end of the spear or whether you're holding the handle of the spear. You still want to have a conversation. Who do you talk to? Some people say, I don't like to talk to people. I like to keep my business to myself because people can't keep no secret and mind the business.
Right.
How do you approach getting some advice?
Yeah, that's an important point. And unfortunately, we don't have in some places we have personal financial advisors, certified financial planners, etc., who one could go to for this sort of advice. There are persons out there who could and would provide help. The first place I think you should go is your bankers or your credit union, as the case may be, and talk to the staff there. They have experience and knowledge about these things, and they could help you with that. If you're looking for investment, of course, and I am from the ECSE, So I mean, I can't stay here and talk about managing money without talking about investment. So of course, go to your favorite broker, your broker at the National Bank or the Bank of New York if you're across the waters, and talk to them about your needs, talk to them about what you want, your strategies. And sometimes in these times when things are a bit rough, we tend to focus on just the immediate things, but let's also focus on the future, because managing money is about putting your money to use in a way that provides for your immediate needs and your future needs. So you have to look at the future as well, not just look at tomorrow. And we spoke about savings, how important it is to save. One thing I would like to say, nobody's ever saved themselves wealthy.
I like that one.
You must invest. You must create income, passive income, put your money to work for you in order to become wealthy. You must invest, whether it be through financial assets, as is my strong point, or through other forms like real estate, etc. You have to invest in order to become wealthy. So the savings is an intermediate step. Of course, you save for the quote-unquote rainy days. So you would want to build up a certain cash balance in an interest-bearing account at a bank, maybe to cover your expenses for a good 4 to 6 months. But beyond that, having gotten beyond that, don't stop saving. Continue to save, but to use those extra funds to invest so that you create income for yourself in the long run.
He just reminded me of a friend of mine who I haven't seen for some time, but he said in the context of passive income, he said he'd like to be lying down at home and hearing ching ching. I mean, somebody made a deposit on one of his investments.
The way to go.
So he's very happy about that. But when you talk about savings, and this brings me to the issue of we are still a cash-based region by and large, not stereotyping anybody, but a lot of transactions are done in cash because of what you may want to call the informal economy,
right,
or the vending economy. People exchange cash. Mm-hmm. And some people are in the habit of storing that cash just to take off a bit, but having a whole lot of cash sitting on there, just occupying space and paying interest on it rather than investing it. What would you say to those people who are not thinking about the expense of just dealing with cash? How do you get them to even listen to you?
Yeah. One of the things where we have to live with in these days is a thing called inflation. So the value of money deteriorates over time. So if you are not earning a return on your money that is higher than the rate of inflation, you're in fact deceiving.
You lose your money.
You're losing money.
All right.
So I would say to people who sit on large balances of cash in a savings account earning 2%? Maybe if it's in a fixed deposit, it could even be less. It could be 1.5, 1%.
Yeah.
So discuss with your broker. Go to National Bank, sit down with the staff in this brokerage, in the brokerage unit. Go to the Bank of New York and discuss with the staff over there about ways of getting involved in the financial markets, ways of investing your money. The ECSE, which I had at this time, provides a mechanism for people to create wealth. You are able to invest in, we have some 154 securities listed on the ECSE that you could possibly invest in, either to get a return, so you could invest in some of the government and some of the corporate fixed income paper that we do, the government bonds, treasury bills, commercial paper, etc. that we have, or you could invest in the shares of a company. We have some 13 companies from across the currency union that you could invest in. We have some 5 from right here in St. Kitts, so St. Kitts Nevis, I should say. So you have a range of options that you're able to invest and to diversify and create a good portfolio of securities that could provide for you a return that exceeds what you could get on your bank accounts, and exceeds the rate of inflation, so that you actually have a positive return on your money.
And of course, if you have institutions that are just flush with cash, then it becomes more a question of you wanting their services more than they need your service.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, sometimes when you look at it, you pay in the bank to keep your money.
Exactly. You're paying for vault access.
Yeah.
That's what you're paying for. Now, I think this issue we're discussing about, we have among us some people who have done extremely well, who started out very humbly, worked very hard, were very frugal, and then they accumulate, but they're afraid of losing what they have, and they are suspicious about things they don't fully understand.
Right.
I think 19 years ago, there was a name, I think Baljit, maybe one of those names, I don't know if I'm right, with Avora,
Very right.
with Avora somewhere in there, and a Trevor Blake in that.
Yes.
19 years ago, the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, and that was done essentially to deal with this issue of this overwhelming amount of cash. Savings the rates were dropping, and there were all kinds of security issues about having a lot of cash around the place. Now, the strange thing about well, not even strange. COVID-19 is a phenomenon that is like a series. You don't know what the next episode is going to bring, because now you're hearing that it stays on cash for quite some time. So that's another reason for you to start to say, hey, wait a minute, where's my card? So anyway, the issue basically is this: how has the ECSE helped in this way? And in terms of giving you options, and do you think enough is being done to make the person who really is really cash oriented, handles cash all the time, to really get it in terms of how they could access the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange? I'm speaking here about the guy who's selling coconut, the guy who's selling breadfruit, the hustler on the sea, you know what I mean? People who are doing things, but then they end up with the cash and they say, what do you do with this cash?
Right, right. Thank you for introducing that, Clive. 90 years ago today, we launched the ECSE and its subsidiaries. We launched the securities market in the Eastern Caribbean. And that was a watershed time. It was a time where we transformed the currency union, the financial space in the currency union. So we provided a seamless, integrated financial market across the space. What that provides for the individual you refer to is an avenue for him to access what he was not able to access before. Of course, yes, we used to buy shares before. Yes, we could have invested in at least the government of St. Kitts and Nevis treasury bills. But what we provided 90 years ago is a mechanism where we're not now locked into just the St. Kitts and Nevis treasury bills. We're able to access treasury bills from across the region. And one of the things one of the important things in investing is minimizing the risk of investment. And one of the strategies of minimizing risk is to diversify your portfolio. So instead of putting, well, as old people say, don't put your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Spread it around.
Every day bucket go well. One day the bottom will drop off.
Exactly. So you spread it around. It provided an avenue for companies to list and to make their shares therefore more accessible to investors. So the individual who's sitting with a lot of cash could now go to his broker-dealer, and here in St. Kitts Nevis, again, we have the National Bank and the Bank of Nevis. They could go to their broker-dealer and say to them, look, I want to know about this. What do I do? How do I get involved in investing? And though there are people who are trained and licensed in those institutions to provide them that advice and to help them in building a portfolio, how to invest, look at the different companies that are listed. And we have different sectors. We have financials, we have utilities, we have trading companies. We have a range of companies that are listed. So again, you could diversify your portfolio, listing in a range of companies in a range of sectors, so to provide you some diversification to help to minimize the risks that are inherent in investing.
I'm going to ask you a question, and you're allowed to leave it alone if it's too much outside your stump. But what are some of the best investments?
Unfortunately, I am not licensed to give financial advice.
I was asked that question, man. I'm looking for tips,
But like I say, if you go up to National Bank
Yeah.
or to Bank of Nevis,
Yeah.
you'll find persons who are licensed. I have to remain neutral.
I hear you. That's why I told you can leave it alone. I give you fair warning. Now, in terms of attitude to money now, I think we've touched on it several times. But how can you personally say, I want to know more about money? And how can I go about doing that without a great expense or without having to have achieved 15 or 16 CXC exams?
Yeah, I mean, some of the best are the persons who have done very well in investing and in other forms of creating wealth. Persons who probably never did one CXC exam or O-level or whatever the case. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Yeah, know what you want, determine what you want, where you want to go, know what you have, and then what you have available to you to invest, and discuss with the professionals, discuss with the broker dealers, discuss with them your needs, your risk appetite, what you want to achieve, how you want to go about doing investing. That is important. It's important that you don't sit back and, I mean, not everybody has although we do provide as much information as we possibly could on our website, etc. But discussion with your broker dealer is important so that you don't do the wrong things. Because if you're looking for income only, they could steer you towards fixed income investments, bonds, treasury bills, etc. If you're looking for more capital gains, you're looking for your investment to grow over time rather than getting a steady investment, they would direct you towards shares and things like that. So it's important to know what you want, discuss with your advisors, discuss with the broker dealers what your needs are, what you're looking for, whether you're investing for the long run, whether you invest in short term, and they could guide you in terms of making the right investments.
How to manage your money.
Managing your money.
Managing your money,
Yes.
rainy days,
Yeah.
the field is set, and we have a fan of Mr. Blake who's coming in from the northern end. A very good morning to you, Miss Henry.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning, Miss Henry. How are you?
The Blake Intel started out his management in the school's cooperative.
Cooperative, which Miss Henry
Yes.
was the teacher in charge of. Yes,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is so
Teacher
true.
Guide and you and
Yeah.
Dunstan and Grace.
And Val Henry.
Yes, man. Tell Mr. Bacchus. Long time I training them,
I told him you could call this morning, don't worry.
Yes, because I want to know, when a share doesn't perform, for how long do you delist it? Because there's the incident with the cable and wireless shares, which we were induced to buy for $5. No sooner had we bought them, they dropped, and they have never risen. So what do you delist them after a while when they're not performing?
Well,
That's one question.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Now I must confess, I get good service from National Bank. You know, the lady there, Miss Cook.
You right? Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she gives good advice. I usually buy shares for my grandchildren, that whole kind of style, and some of them I buy just to get a little higher interest.
Right.
She does give good advice.
Yes.
But to me, you have the corona. I don't see shares plummeting or nothing, so you could buy them up. What's going on in the stock market? In the U.S. and so, when shares start to fall, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
And there are people are complaining they have these cable and wireless shares that can't get themselves. No trading going on. And too often on the CSE market, it's like they don't tie up your money. So rather than you're making profit, your money doesn't get tied up. So what do you say about that?
okay. Well, I mean,
I'll hang up.
Thank you, Miss Henry.
Thanks for the question. The thing about shares and investing generally, there are no guarantees. One has to. There are risks involved. Companies pay dividends out of profits, So depending on the profits of the company in any given year, they may or may not pay a dividend, or they may pay a reduced dividend. To be fair to CW, and in the early years, we did get some very, very good profits from CW in terms of the dividends that they paid. And I'm speaking here as Trevor Blake, who happened to have put some money into CW when they sold the shares. I think I made back my money very, very early on, and everything after that was an additional profit over that. Companies that are listed on the ECSE have certain listing requirements to meet, and once they meet them, we don't delist them. Right? So even though a company may not be paying profits, that is not a listing requirement. That is not the case for delisting. So we wouldn't delist the company because it doesn't happen to be paying dividends at a particular point in time, especially the company that had a good history of paying dividends, a good track record. Again, investing in shares is a long-term business. Who knows? Maybe this year, Cayman Wise may pay a big profit, a big dividend. You never know. In the future, again, when you invest in shares, you're investing for a future stream of income. It may not be every single year, but over time, you are expected to get a positive return. And if it no longer works for you, or if you need income more readily, you could sell it and select a security that provides a more steady stream of income. But we don't delist companies because they don't pay a dividend.
Well, I'm going to give Ms. Henry high marks for taking out some shares and investing for the grandchildren, but I'm going to give her some low marks for not realizing when you're investing. That's what it is. You're investing, you may make a profit, you may not. That's why you invest. But of course, you're not at any risk where you're going to lose your money, but you may not get that return on investment because circumstances change, markets change, and nobody complains when they make a lot of money. You say, this is too much money, Y'all take back some.
Indeed.
So,
and I could recall years when Cayman Wise was paying a very, very strong dividend.
You couldn't get through the door. you couldn't get a share to buy. Anyway, we've got to go. It's time for us to go. Before we go, though, Mr. Blake, can you quickly give me in about a minute some options available to people who are trying to manage money and it's pouring rain?
Yes. It's about, again, looking at your situation, looking at what is your income now. Maybe in the height of the tourist season before COVID, you were making tons of money every week when the cruise ships came in. You have to look at your position now. Hopefully, you would have put aside something for this rainy day. But even that, if you had done that, look at the situation, or look at what you have coming in, look at what is going out, see where you could cut. And there's I should say, see what new areas of income or new streams of income you could also attract. But it's easier, it's quicker to find ways of cutting your expenditure than to find new ways of earning income. So the first thing you should probably look at is your expenditure. What are the must-haves? What could I do without? Where could I cut? What do I change? Maybe I need to move from a postpaid phone to a prepaid phone. Maybe I need to reduce the number of times I go to the restaurant. Maybe I need to reduce the number of times I go to the movies. Whatever you could cut, whatever doesn't affect the necessaries that you must do. You have to eat. You have to live somewhere. You have to pay the utilities. Whatever you have to do, continue to do, but do it more strategically. Look at it more carefully. Look at how you could reduce the cost to you of the things you have to do. Again, discuss with your financial institution, your bank or your credit union, if you're struggling with your loans. It's best to go and have a conversation with them rather than to not pay. Have the conversation. You'll be surprised what they could do for you in terms of refinancing, helping you to work through these Rainy days.
Rainy days, man. Rainy days and Mondays. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Trevor Blake, and congratulations to you and your team at the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. All the very best to you. Congrats to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCU as well. This Financial Information Month is very, very timely and very important. We must continue this conversation. So I wish you and your team all the very best indeed.
Thank you, Clive. And thanks for the opportunity to talk to the public.
Thank you so much. All right. So you're tuned to Winner FM is 90.9. We're just about a minute or two over time, but that's all right. We've got voices lined up for you, and we've got the King Socrates who will be right with you in a moment.
The studios today, two very important persons from the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Society. What we'll do momentarily is pause for a word from the folks who make this show possible, and then we'll get right back with you on the program. Thank you.
Reduce sugar, chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar, chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar, chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar, chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Okay, we're back with the listeners, and welcome once again to Voices. October seems to be the month that offers a platform for many, many health issues. We know it's the month of the mental health is mental health month, and is a month for the elderly. We had a program last week, over the last 2 weeks, with his health issues. Today on the program, we have two very important persons, and I'm going to deliberately have them introduce themselves and tell you exactly who they are, their claim to fame. The moment they point on each other, one, that's, what I mean? So without any further ado, we'll let the folks from the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation introduce themselves and tell us why they're here today.
Good morning. My name is Pamela Armstrong. I want to say that I'm one of the members of Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation, but I don't think Marcus would allow me to say that. I am.
You said it already?
And I know he's going to come back and say no. I am the president of Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation.
Yes.
Don't know why I don't say that. But yes, we're here today to bring a little light on breast cancer, and also to just give a list of what's going on for the rest of the month, as we called Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Correctly so.
Yes, and greetings. My name is Marcus Natter. I am the Public Relations Officer for Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. And I'm happy to be here with Pam. Pam is actually the founder of Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. I don't know why she's downplaying her
modesty is a virtue, but I happen to know her history, but you go ahead, sir.
So we're extremely happy to be here. And of course, Essence of Hope, we work all year round, but in October it's especially important for us to ramp it up a bit, as globally October is recognized as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so we try to do our part here in St. Kitts and Nevis to spread the word about breast cancer and to educate persons regarding this dreaded disease.
Okay. One of the reasons why I called you, because I reached out to a friend of ours to talk about Pam and I, a mutual friend, Brenda O'Neill. I know that for this month there's been lots of programs, lots of talk shows on the topic of breast cancer. I don't want to be saturating the media with all this information, but it's very, very important. And notwithstanding all that, I called Brenda and asked her to give me contacts to get in touch with you. So even though I know your number was kind of lost, she says, speak to Mr. Natter, he's the PR. And so I observed the protocol. I spoke with him. I know you'll be part of it because I did mention. So good morning, Brenda. Thanks for the connect. And unfortunately, Brenda, they can only give me 30 minutes. It says they can't stay beyond half an hour. I understand they have many obligations. So I'm going to let them speak to, well, you first, Pam. You're the president, the founder, how it came to be. and come to present day, what is happening this week? Because there's lots of things. I think last week there was a walk, a breast cancer walk.
Not yet. That's
I know,
coming up.
not the official one.
Oh, okay.
I know there was, I think the Deputy Prime Minister and others did a walk.
A health walk.
So that information need to be clarified exactly what is and what is the primary walk. I think I thought I had a pink shirt.
No, you have
I'm wearing
salmon color.
salmon color.
Yes.
On my arm. To it. So you first, and then Mr. Nato will fill us in as to what's happening. I know the speaking to the mask is a challenge. It's difficult.
Ooh,
The
geez.
breathing and all that.
Yes.
It's a challenge, but we'll be patient and let you do your thing. Yes.
You said that make mention of how Essence started. Essence came into existence, so I would say to birth in the year 2009, and the reason for that was because I personally had, at that time, it was 9 of my close friends who had passed on.
Okay.
The breast cancer, and I wanted to do something. I don't know what that something was, but I was doing all the I wasn't living here at the time, and was doing all those walks and everything that you did for breast cancer, reaching out to people, and everything that I wanted to do, and I thought that wasn't enough. I had to do more, and I wanted to know what was going on in St. Kitts, because I wanted to come back home also. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do for my country, to see if, how is breast cancer here? Was it,
Front and center.
Was there a lot of it? Not knowing, yes, there was. And at that time, I had lost my very best friend, Miss Annie Jenkins.
Yes, I remember Annie.
Yes. And I was told yes, and that's how it became, a household name, yes.
Okay.
And that's where, we've been going since then. And I'm happy to say that the love, the support that we have gotten from the Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful because of what we set out to do. Beautiful members that we have committed, very, very committed, and they're on board, and we work very, very hard. So Essence is, from 2009 until now, we are going in full force. And
You've been about 11 years, right?
Yes.
11 years. What about affiliations? Are there any sister organizations that you reach out to regionally, internationally, etc.?
Internationally, it's a kind of tricky one. Just not. It
Receptive?
just can't. No, it can't be that you have to go through protocols, government, and all those. It's one of those tricky ones. But
Well,
you're
the move and shaker, so I figure that's
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We did try, but then it's so many red tapes and blue tapes and white tapes that you have to go through. Yes.
So your focus now
Yes.
is your yard.
Yes. Really.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes. And regionally, Jamaica and ICWI, which is our title sponsor, they are in collaboration, and you have Cogs and Cayman Islands because they are there. Jamaica, what's the other one? And those two that I know of that we are in collaboration with.
Okay. So that speaks to the foundation, how you got inspired to establish, and it's 11 years on,
Yes.
and you're trying to make connections with regional other bodies. Mr. Piero, what about yourself? You are the person who are forefront and center of the activities you're planning, etc., we know of the walk annually. That's one of the many fundraisers that you do?
Yes, actually, that's our major fundraiser.
Okay,
annually.
talk to us about that.
And so, of course, we recognize we're still in the midst of a pandemic, so we're
Yes.
a little worried at first because persons have been asking about the walk since maybe March. I think.
How do you social distance with mask? And wear mask because you're
Yeah,
actually high energy and stuff like
Right.
that.
So, but we have been given the blessing of the NEOC, the COVID-19 task force, and it's actually things like this are actually seen as actually a healthy,
Plus,
a healthy event to have. It is outdoors, you're moving, and so on. Of course, you can't wear your mask while walking, but whenever at the start, when we congregate and so on, warming up, maybe then you know, once you start to walk, you need to take it off because that's just not healthy. You know, you need to breathe properly.
Yes.
And at the end, so we start at Caribbean Cinemas 5:30 a.m. and then we walk over to the Frigate Bellon.
Okay.
So at the end, when you're about to get the light refreshments at the end and so on, you mask up again. So we came up with the theme to mask up while we unmask breast cancer. So that's our theme.
You want to repeat that?
Mask up
Mask up
while we
unmask
breast
for
cancer.
breast cancer. That's your theme this year.
Yeah, so that's the theme of the walk this year. And so October 31st, every year, the last Saturday of October is our pink walk.
Your pink walk.
And so we have been, growing from strength to strength. The first walk had just about 200 to 300 people, 400 people.
400 persons. He said just about. Well, that's
Compared to now.
That was the first walk. but
okay. Yeah.
Last year we had over 1,700 people.
1,700 and 1,701 because I'm not wearing this shirt. I'm going to be there this year, seriously. I'm going to be there this year. I'm going to get the right color shirts.
Yes.
So starting at the Caribbean Cinema, walk to the lawn in Frigate Bay
That's right.
via the
Along
bypass
the
road.
highways, yes.
Okay, how does one get back? Because I'm going to drive up and park there.
Yes.
Yes.
We always have
We always have
transportation.
shuttles,
Oh, to
Have
take you
shuttles,
back.
beautiful.
Yes.
definitely.
So for the folks who have intention to join the walk and have questions, let Mr. Not to repeat again the starting point, the starting time, where you're going, what's involved in the walk, and how do you get back? How do you sign up?
Yes.
What's required to be part of that? How do you make a contribution?
Yeah, so this year we reduced the cost of the walk. It's usually $50, which is a negligible fee, I
Okay.
think, because if we compare that to the thousands of dollars that chemotherapy and other therapies, for cancer therapies cost, it's really a minute amount. But we recognize that during the pandemic, persons would have lost their jobs and so
Yeah.
on. So we have reduced it, so it's now $30 this year to register for the walk. And when you register, you get a cap, a pink cap, Essence of Hope pink cap. And that also gives you the ability to get the light refreshments at the end. You'll have a wristband identifying you, so you'll get your cap and your wristband for your $30. And persons can register online. You can check our social media pages on Instagram or on Facebook. We have an online registration link, but you can also call any one of us. Our numbers are online as well, 664-8055. You can call, and we can get you a hard copy form if you wish, and you register.
You want to repeat that number again? Because 664
8055.
Okay, 664.
8055, and you can get your registration done that way as well. And so we start 5:30 promptly. We usually do a little warm up, maybe around 5:15, say a prayer and all of that, and get started promptly at 5:30 from Caribbean Cinemas. Walk along the F.T. Williams Highway, along the Kim Collins Highway, along the Frigate Bay Road towards the Frigate Bay Lawn. And this year as well, we have some support, because we can't do this by ourselves. So we want to thank Fast Cash for coming on board.
One of the sponsors, Fast Cash.
Yeah, Fast Cash
Okay.
has come on board in a major way. And so we are grateful for that because we recognize, again, the economic impact the pandemic has had on businesses.
Yes.
So it's very tough for them. And notwithstanding, a lot of companies have registered their employees, their staff members, and they're encouraging them
That is
to
good.
attend the walk as well. So,
That is
we
good.
have good support in that way as well.
It's more than a worthy cause. It's a life and death situation. You mentioned the cost of chemo and radiology. You actually raise funds to assist folks going through those challenges?
Definitely.
Well, I'm not the expert here. I'm asking for all some
Definitely.
others who don't really know exactly what you
Definitely.
do. You have you have very high visibility, but sometimes behind the scenes you don't know what you're doing. So we only have 30 minutes as you explain. So let us know what you do.
I'm going to say this. Then you say. When we started, when Essence started, we started to be visible and to educate. And we started to give free mammograms. The first year we gave 2.
How do you give free mammograms? Do you have a building? Do you have a place that you get?
No, they can call the numbers.
The
Our
numbers.
numbers are visible. And
Yes.
they call on Essence of Hope. And we go from there. We take all the
Okay.
information and, we have a chat with you. We go from there. But like I said, it's free mammograms. And we started out for a few years doing the free mammograms. And for some reason, and it still is, women just doesn't like to. It's free, but that's the only thing that's free, and we're not.
They don't want it to
and
be.
they
I
don't
know
want it
somebody over the past
and
few
they
weeks
don't
who
want
went
it.
and paid for that. This is because there's I won't say dearth of information. The information is there, but is what people listen to. I know somebody who went and paid for that. This is important. The number to call for that is what? Is the same number here?
Yeah, and 660
660.
0152. But it's not only that.
Just
People,
important.
it's not only that behind that's the reason why they're not calling is like a lady told me. She says, I don't want to know. I don't want a mammogram because I don't want to know if I have breast cancer or not. I don't want to
That's
know.
the way you don't know can't hurt you. That's it.
Yeah, she said, I just don't want
That's
to
not a
know.
thing, though.
And there's this myth that if you do it, it hurts. It's just a lot of things behind it. And for really most part, they don't want to know, which is just ridiculous.
And if you find out too late,
which is so much.
I actually
Time.
penned those words in a song. Some women don't want to go for mammogram. When you find out too late, it's really, really end stage or stage this 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
Yes.
How do you combat that particular challenge?
Well, we've really been trying. Last year around this time, we had a health forum at the OTI, and we had a really good turnout there. Where we tried to educate again women about that. We had a great turnout from some nurses at the JNF as well, who are also now helping to encourage women as they come across women to do that as well. This year we embarked on a more direct approach with a social media campaign as well as an advertising campaign, physical campaign on the island. So if you go towards the St. Peter's area, that roundabout, you'd see a bright pink billboard saying "Feel a lump," and if you feel a lump, of course, we want you to contact your physician. It may be something, it may be nothing. We have a couple bus stops that are going to be on the Bay Road. One is there already.
Okay.
That has the ad saying "Feel the lump." It has our contact information, and so we want to encourage women, and especially women who are over 40, they should be getting annual mammograms. And we, again, offer that free if you contact us. We take your information and we can provide that free for you. We work with some wonderful health professionals here on island, and so we really want to encourage women to do that. And we want you to, we always push self-breast exams, so that's the first thing, Pam always says, feel up yourself, women. Know your body.
Breath, know your
Do you have any
body.
outreach in the rural areas like Sekion, Sandy Point, Salas areas?
Well, in that regard, I want to say we are nationwide, right?
Yes.
Of course, and programs like this help a lot because you listen to not just here, worldwide as well, right? And so we try to branch out as much as we can all over St. Kitts and Nevis. So yes, we push a lot of stuff on social media. We recognize not everyone may be on social media. So like I said, platforms like this is critical, and we use that. We do have partners as well in some of the medical universities that we can call on to assist us as well and help spread the word. So we try as much as possible to encompass everyone we can on our platforms in any way that we can.
You've got my number. So I don't think we should wait until next year's. Is that anniversary or that date for to come on? You can come on any given time as long as Mr. Backus gives me permission and speak to that campaign for getting women more aware of the services available, especially the free mammogram. I know someone who went and paid an oncologist about 3 weeks ago. And they were in panic for about a whole month, couldn't get an appointment. And fortunately, it's not as bad as they expected. But having this information, I don't think they was aware of it. Totally. I know for a fact, based on what they did, had to go to oncologists, they were unaware that there is a platform. They can call this number and get education, free mammogram.
Did you hear how long we've been in existence? This is
11 years.
11 years.
11 years.
We're not under a rock, and we've been preaching this all the time. But I'm telling you, and you know what? I also wanted to add on to the free mammogram. So we go from mammogram, bypassing mammogram, to the fact, And the fact is, I am diagnosed,
Okay.
which ends up costing you, instead of $300, $350, thousands of dollars. That's why we teach mammogram,
Feel it yourself.
self-breast examination
As early as
as
possible.
early as
Don't
possible.
wait. Don't be afraid to find out too late, etc. This needs to be. Well, you're doing your best. But I'm saying I'm offering my services. I think management would be in agreement. You can come here as often as you can because it's a campaign to get the nation or women more aware, understanding the need to forget the fear, come and get these services. It's very important.
And I just wanted to add that, we are Breast Cancer Foundation, but we do not turn away persons if you have some other form of cancer. We've helped persons with oral cancer, cancer of the mouth, lung cancer, kidney cancer, etc. So we don't want people to shy away because, they hear us on the radio or see us and we're wearing pink and it's all about breast cancer. No, we assist persons with all types of cancer.
While we're on that point, pink is the color for breast cancer. Is that correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
What are the other colors for the other the cancers? Because
So really,
some years ago, David did a song about that, and there was breast cancer and other things, and she wore different colors, and people hit her. You're wearing such and such, and she said the different colors.
For
There are,
Associated.
there are lots of
Yes.
colors, so I won't
So-
even try to.
Good.
But I know
Yeah.
prostate, I think, is blue, but I won't
Prostate
try
is blue.
to list
And,
the other
So if
colors.
someone presents with those symptoms, you still try to accommodate them.
Oh yeah, and I mean we don't only help with cancer treatments because sometimes people have that covered, let's say, but they're not able to fly out, and they may need support for that. They may be able to fly out and everything, but they don't have enough money to take the bus, train to go wherever to get sustenance, and all of those that type of support we offer.
So 660-0152, that also gives access.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna
And you
put it
can
in.
send us an email as well. It's our essence 2009 at gmail.com. Our essence 2009 at gmail.com, and we'll promptly respond. And I just want to add one more thing. I know we're going to wrap up soon. But I think we must commend, because when we started, we were pushing for St. Kitts and Nevis to have an oncology unit where persons can go and get treatment. And some years ago, I think 2016, JNF opened its oncology
Unit.
unit. And it has been shown to be critically important, especially now, because look at what has happened in 2020.
COVID,
Persons
yeah,
cannot travel.
Can't travel.
So imagine you needed to get chemotherapy and you would have had to travel. Now,
And the
you're-
restrictions, the challenges.
Right.
Okay, before you go, Mr. Natal, Pam, there's a call on the line. Caller, welcome to Voices.
King Faculty, good morning.
Morning, sir. How about thou?
And the people who deal with breast cancer.
Morning.
Very
That's it.
informative this morning. But I want to say a little thing there. To the youngster who was just talking.
Mr. Nato.
Remember, it ain't Jane France, it's the Right Honorable Timothy Harris put himself up the way to put the oncologist up in the center, up in the hospital. So let me talk it right, youngster. If you never for that guy strapped for money and mean that got to happen, we would never see something like that. But we will like other private people to do that as well. And one more thing, Sakoti.
Sir.
Why is it you all and the panel there don't push that in the sixth form, in the high school, we should make the awareness that these young girls go and get checked.
Pam
We
is
must
shaking her head in
police
agreement
it
with
in
you.
the school, in the sixth form.
Manners, we do that. This,
You do
this,
that?
yeah,
You
this
call
year.
These things. The public want to know these things. You understand?
Yes.
Who is that? That is my friend here.
Yes. Yes.
Call your name. I can't bring your name at the
Pam,
moment.
Pam Manners, Pam.
Pamela.
Pam from Newtown. She live in Newtown.
Same people, but a different mother and father. Real people. What here? That breast cancer is very serious. I had to sponsor a good friend of mine over Nevis, give them a little donation to get them off to Barbados. And it's very, very serious. And I'm asking all women to take this thing very serious. in a joke and try to eat right.
Yeah.
Property,
Sir.
God bless you. Take care.
Thank you for your contribution, sir. Much appreciated. The problem is, I am so. Well, I understand that you have to run.
We
right?
can say a little.
Let's pause for
yeah.
a word from our sponsors and come back so we can make some more time of it because this is so crucial, so fundamental. Word from our sponsors, please.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold. Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavor, sparkling orange, lemon, and sugar-free blackcurrant. Also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavor, bursting with health.
Voices. Today's program is speaking to the members to keep persons from the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. We had a rather spirited discussion on what they're doing, how many years they've been in existence, some 11 years, and the challenges. So we're going to ask Pam to continue because we had a call who raised the point of taking this information into the schools. I'm going to let her respond to that because she was shaking her head in agreement. So, Pam?
Yes, that was such a good point that I call him manners.
His manners.
Well, yes.
Everyone no man's jammed down.
That he made, and I just wanted to tell him that we do that every year. This year, because of the COVID,
there's been
we haven't been, but we try to go to the schools, even in the country.
Okay.
And I mean, I do.
When you say country, what do you mean?
Well, what I mean in the rural
What areas? You talk about Sunny Point, right? Okay. I'm just messing with you.
Oh my gosh.
So you liaise with the
yes,
education department and they do your accommodation?
Yes, and we go and we speak to the kids and try to encourage them and go home and ask mommy.
Yes.
So we have been doing that.
But
Mr.
just to
Manners,
say,
we have been doing that.
Yeah, definitely. But just to say, at that level, in terms of high school, even CFBC, you don't encourage mammograms at that age.
At the stage.
At that age per se. Now, that does not mean, because that doesn't mean younger persons don't get breast cancer, but that's not something that medical professionals
you focus on at that
for.
stage.
They would be more advocating for you to do self-breast exams at that age. So if the young ladies feel anything, then they would go to the doctor and they would get advice that in that way. What we would encourage young persons and everyone on a whole is about the healthy lifestyle and eating correctly, eating local produce and so on, and eating lots of fruits and vegetables. We had a panel last week where our nutritionist spoke about the importance of healthy living, eating a lot of green vegetables and that sort of thing, and a lot of fruits. So that's what we would encourage for high schoolers, younger persons, and of course encourage them to encourage their aunts, their moms, and so on to look into mammograms.
Quick question: have you any recorded incident of any male with breast cancer?
Oh yes.
Okay, let's speak to that.
Oh yes.
Because it's thought to be like a female thing.
No, and we try to stress that all the time, that it is not a female disease. Of course, women are at higher risk because, I remember in our health forum last year, the oncologist Dr. Marissa Grant Tate did mention that the number one risk factor for women is the fact that they have breasts. Right? Okay. So you just can't escape it. But men also, we don't like to say a man wouldn't like to hear he has breasts, but we have, our chest it has 2 breasts.
Can you speak to any stats?
Well,
in terms of incidents
in
of
terms
rape?
of statistics, I can only speak to, I can't speak nationally, but from what I could recall, Pam, we may have had 3 or so men over the years.
No, one passed. I think it was
And
last year.
In the Federation?
In the
Yes.
Federation that we know of that had breast cancer. And we actually had, he was a fairly young guy
Yes.
who had breast cancer. And he came and he spoke at one of our, we had asked the doctor some years ago on
and he was
ZIZ
on.
TV. And he spoke about his experience and so on. And he gave a really good account. So men, yes, we can get breast cancer as well. So even us, when you're bathing, you rub your chest and so on, you might feel something, you go
We
and
like
you
to
check
pump
it
up
out.
with chest when walking, so we don't really associate
Right.
that as
Yes,
so
you
I know
do.
that the incidents, that's why I asked you. So I thought you maybe just speak to the stats because it's not just a female thing when it comes to breast cancer. You said you assist people with other forms of cancer. So
That's
this is
right.
very good to know. But I'm saying any given time you want to come on, if you can do like once a month, every 5 weeks, it can be an ongoing discussion.
Right.
Because some years ago, I called a particular doctor and spoke about the asbestos piping that brought water down from the mountains to the rural areas. And she said asbestos had nothing to do with that. I don't know, but I figured asbestos, and now it's been around the world, is being removed as a means of getting water to certain. And she was saying, no. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was my thinking.
Yeah, well, there's so many causes, and you can really pinpoint causes of cancer a lot of times, but environmental conditions are key.
Changing diets,
Diet is
migration.
key, and, sometimes as well you're predisposed in a way because you may have had that history in
Your
your
family
lineage,
history,
in your family
yes.
lineage, and so sometimes you can be more susceptible to getting some form of cancer. But again, we don't really want to say we're pinpointing any given thing that may cause it.
Yes.
So we just try to encourage persons to live healthy as possible. The nutritionist, I know she mentioned a lot of different diets that come up
Okay.
from time to time. Oh,
Let's
so we
accommodate
have
the caller. Caller, you live on Voices. Good morning, caller, you live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I wanted to speak directly to Essence of Hope Palm and the other person I didn't catch the name.
Mr. Nato.
Nato,
P.I.O. Nato,
possibly?
yes.
Yes, okay. One of the things that, as a survivor, I would like to see happen, and I think it's done in Barbados, is for persons who have succumbed, who have had issues, who have lost their breasts and that sort of thing. The idea of bras and prosthetics,
Prosthetics, yes.
because we here in the Caribbean, a lot of us, we don't have the opportunity to rebuild, to reconstruct. And so women there's that issue. I know it's done in Barbados. Every year they give new bras, they give prosthetics to survivors. Have you all considered that as part of one of the things that you'd like to do when you're raising funds? That is something, or maybe it's a business idea for someone to get into bringing in those things. I know a few years ago, Daylight and Kelly and Scotiabank brought in bras and prosthetics for us, for a number of people who were in need of it. And I've had persons who were in that program approach me as to when that is happening again, because the cost of one prosthetic is over $200 US. Not everybody can afford that, So that's something I'd like to see be done. Okay, thank you. I'll listen off there.
Beautiful.
Hi, Carla.
Hi, Pam.
Yes, we have done that. And 3 weeks ago, I had the last 2 bras, which I someone called, 2 people actually, and they were the right size, meaning the one
terms of the
side that
fit.
needed the fit, the one side that needed fit. They were just exactly what the 2 different people wanted. But we do that because we get there's a young lady, Petula Skeet. I'm going to give her props, and she helps us with these bras. So I just spoke to her on Thursday, and she wanted to know if there's anyone who needed.
Or she assists you in
Yeah, well, yes,
acquiring-
in acquiring, yeah, but she has a contact who helps. So she
she's
helps us.
Nivision.
And she's
from
Nivision. She's from
one of
Nevis.
us.
Yes.
Is she resident or abroad?
She's abroad.
She's abroad.
She's abroad. So
Yes.
that answers the question to some extent. Yes, you do that. You were able to assist others. And you want to give some props to Ms. Skeet because she actually accommodates. That,
Yes.
So if somebody wants to get in touch with you.
Yes,
one
they
of
can
the-
call. Yeah, they can call. Of course, 660-0152 and what it-
4660.
No, 660
660-0152 to call
Yes.
for management of the Essence of Hope.
Yes. So we would have to. It's one for me going to her and say, well, I just have one. That's not feasible. You
Because of
understand what I'm
shipping, you want to
saying?
get at
Yes,
least if
at
possible.
least, yes, because that's what I usually do. When people call, I get about maybe 5,
Yes.
10 names, and I would tell her.
And they will
then-
suggest their measurements.
Well,
stuff like
no,
that?
I tell them because she give me instruction on what they have to
What's available?
measure and what side is off.
So you now do the fitting. You get the
They
measurement.
give me and I tell her, yeah.
Okay.
They do that, yeah. So,
So you're,
but
you're,
you all can call Essence if anyone needs.
so you're one stop.
We try to. We try to.
We try to,
try
but
to
that's that. You know what? And Carla just made mention, and I think that is something that we probably need to look into also because of so many women who had mastectomy, and walking around. I'm just gonna say it with tissue
Yeah.
in their
padding,
bra,
padding.
to give you that balance. It's expensive to buy one of those bra. Very, very, very expensive. And not just the bra because you have to buy the prosthesis that goes inside. So you buy the bra, then you have to buy that other part. It's
Carla
very
says it's about
expensive.
$200, and that's
US.
purchase cost $200
Yes.
US.
Yes.
And
So
you may need
think-
for a year, you may need 2 or 3 or what? Let's take this caller. Caller 11 voices.
Well, no, I tell them, and she give me instruction on, what they have to measure.
Caller, you're on the radio. Please walk away from your radio. Use your phone.
They give me and I tell her, yeah.
Caller. Hello there.
Hi.
Yes,
Hello.
caller. Please walk away from your radio.
Yeah,
We're
I
getting the
know.
feedback from the radio.
This phone and the car.
Okay.
Listen, Pam, I hear you. Are those bras specially fitted with a prosthetic on one side? Is
Yeah,
that what?
it's yes. Yeah, depends on if it's left or right. Yes, yes.
Oh, so it's not one that you have to put in.
Interchange.
Well, it comes some. I have both. She had sent both before. The last 2 that I was just talking about, they had the
Yeah.
opening where you can insert.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to understand as I listened.
Oh, okay, yes.
So some come already shaped that way.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So they don't
yes.
have to do like me and sometimes forget.
And sometimes forget. Yes.
That's one of the realities, Sam. That's one of the realities.
I
We forget.
know. I know.
You know,
I
that
know.
this is there, this emptiness, Anyway,
Truthful.
continue on. Thank you.
Yes,
This is
dear.
so very, very important information that people who would have been traumatized by a mastectomy, how do they present in public without having access to these prosthetics and such? So the information that Carla was able to sort of lead us towards, that's very important.
It is.
We tend to take so much for granted.
And just by listening to some of the women who have had a mastectomy, they are. Carla is such a bubbly person.
You need to Carlos them. You need to
Yes,
Carla.
Carla is just such a bubbly person, just life. But then you have other women who had breast cancer. They have a mastectomy, and they are just down. They're so ashamed. They're not like worthy of themselves anymore.
Let me share this with you. My eldest sister at the time, we lived in the USVI. She was 35 and diagnosed. And she had a mastectomy. Could not live with it. To the point that when she was hospitalized, they had to tie her hands against the bed railing. She would pull up the tube and she wanted to die. She didn't, she could not. We used to call her the Big M because she was a very proud lady. Her heart as big as 10 mountains, just gave you all that she had. And on a given day, a friend of mine went there by her house to visit. We were stopping here, eating food and drinks, etc. So I was full. We got to her house and she offered food. I could not eat an next morsel. But because I knew her, I sat and I gorged myself with food and so on. So my friend, she asked him, how come you're not eating? He says, Marion, we're full, we can't eat anymore. She started crying, oh, because I have breast cancer, you don't want to eat from me. But because I knew her, I forced myself to eat. She could not deal with the fact that she had a mastectomy. She was very popular. I went to Anguilla to do a show. When I came back, she was hospitalized, and they had to tie her hand. She died shortly after. So some people cannot cope with it. So the callers of this world, we have to look at them and thank them for the inspiration. And sharing the stories will help others.
That is so
this is very important.
Very, very, very important. I mean, that's as a woman, you know.
It's your womanhood. It's your identity.
You know,
and it's an assault on your whole psychosis. So to be able to brave the public and share your inspiration to untold others. You know, so I want to thank you. I'm glad you're going to stay on a bit longer. We don't have to run. I mean, this is information that the Federation needs. So if you want to speak some more to the various challenges, issues, what do you do outside of the walk, etc., let's have it.
Sure. Well, yes, fam. So we work all year round. We work all year round. And like I said, our Feel a Lump campaign has kicked off, and that's something we're pushing because we want to push the idea of encouraging women to get mammograms. One of the other things we did, we had a campaign called Secrets Kill, Talk About It, because
Secrets
Kill.
I thought I said secrets kills. I want to kind of skills.
No.
Secrets kill.
Talk about it.
And that's for those persons who, you know, you may feel something is wrong with your body, feel something is a little off, and you just keep it to yourself. And
I thought only men do that.
You would think it's only men, because, you know, we don't go to the doctor until we crawl on the ground, kind of thing. You know, but some women go through that as well. And even after being diagnosed, some people, you know, go into a shell and, you know, but you really need a support system. So we encourage people to speak about it. You don't have to tell the whole world, but make sure you have someone or some persons in your corner that can be there and support you.
Sometimes could it be that they factor in the financial challenges, because if you don't have the adequate medical coverage in terms of insurance, you got a problem. You're weighing, I can't afford, and that's one of the more daunting challenges. Having to go to a doctor, not having enough to pay the initial examination fees, and then to go and pay what for the surgeries, etc.
That's such a good idea.
Yes,
and that's something we've been talking about. We've talked to some of the insurance companies about cancer coverage as a whole as well. And so that's something as we progress this year and into next year, that we want to kind of get feedback from all of the insurance companies locally as to how we can really help persons a lot more and help them to understand the kind of coverage they get and they should get and so on. A lot of companies have already eliminated pre-existing conditions from their coverage, but we still need to go a little step further. So that's something Essence of Hope is really hoping to push, because as you mentioned, and as we learned even in our panel last week, that the stress that sometimes comes with the diagnosis, because you're worried about the finances, you're worried about the actual health costs, your actual health, and you're worried about the costs associated with that. Then you might have a partner who can't deal with you being sick, or you have your mastectomy, so you're not a whole woman anymore,
even
so your partner leaves you. It's so much
breadwinner of the family.
Right.
All that stress you have
so
to take
the emotional part of it actually leads to other health issues a lot of times for persons. So all of these things we want to be there for persons. We have persons within our group who are thrivers, survivors and thrivers, who actually counsel a lot of women who are going through through these treatments and going through the diagnosis, etc. And so we're not just there just for financial support, but we try to offer moral and emotional support as well.
You get any sort of, I shouldn't say encouragement, but is there any direct affiliation with the Ministry of Health where they reach out and assist you or give you a platform to reach across to a broader cross-section of society?
Oh, yes. Of course. And the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet has been supporting us even before she was Minister of Health. And she was on our panel. She was at our panel discussion last week and spoke there as well. So she has given us her full support in anything that we're trying to do in this area and making resources available to us from the Ministry of Health as well. So we want to thank her publicly for that. But definitely we try to collaborate a lot with the Ministry of Health because no one person, no one entity can do it. So we really need to work in unison.
And I just want to add to all of this, cancer patient.
Want to get close to the mic? So, yeah.
I just wanted to add cancer thrivers, survivors, all of those people who are suffering. We have caretakers. And I want to just make mention to caretakers. They carry a burden, a real big burden. Because now they have to take care of whether it's a mom, a wife, a girlfriend, an auntie, whatever. They have to take care of these people. And it's also stressful because this person goes to chemo, and chemo, they come home, and some people, they're just not strong enough emotionally. They're not strong enough physically. They come home, you have to take care of them. If their kids involved, you have to take care of them, plus the kids, the whole family. And it's I don't want to use the word burden, but it's a task. So caretakers has to be a part of the equation.
Trained.
And we need.
Because if you're not trained as a caretaker.
Well, I won't even, you learn quick.
The psychology.
Yeah, you learn quick.
The whole psychology, because you yourself may have another job that you've come home from, you're tired, you're stressed, and you have enough to take care of a loved one. A patient. So you have to be of the mindset to relate to that person's state of mind, to be able to breathe, count to 10, and say, okay, I can do this. If not, I can't deal with you, I got my business. Last week we had some a program that deal with caregivers. Who takes care of the caregivers? Because it can be very stressful. Yes, so as I mentioned, caretakers. Yeah, your case. Well, Pam, you have the mic. Talk.
I know I'm telling you, being a caretaker, because I take care of my mom. My mom is 94, right?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, sometimes I don't have much here. And sometimes I just want to, pull my hair out.
You did say that you can't stay beyond the half because you had to go and take care of your mom.
Yes.
But there's an indication that she's okay. So that was priority. I can give you half an hour, but I've got to go and take care of my mom because you're wearing many, many hats. So I appreciate the fact that you're here until maybe up to news time. We had about 5 minutes before news time. I'm missing that.
Yes.
I want to thank you for staying along. So, guys, it's all about speaking about the contacts and what you can do, and apart from the walk. The outreach to the many persons who need your help, but they're afraid to come forward and say, I need your help. They're afraid of the challenges with the financial, their various responsibilities, and the fear of knowing. If you know now, because we say, if I knew then what I know now, I would have. So if you have a chance to know now, it can make all the difference between life and death and a healthy lifestyle. Because we want to live longer, but at the same time, living healthier is the most important thing that could happen to anyone. So, guys, talk to the public. We got about 4 minutes. The mics are yours.
Sure. So I also wanted to mention that in our panel discussion last week, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson was there, and he did give some statistics that show some increase in the diagnoses as it relates to cancer, some slight increases. And so again, we encourage persons to try to live healthy lifestyles as much as possible, we see many people walking along the highways and so on, and those things are great. So we want to encourage that. We want to also push, even though we're not from the Ministry of Agriculture, we want to push the idea of local fruits and vegetables, incorporating those into your diets and so on.
And speak to the farmers in terms of the preparation of the food, the herbicides, the pesticides, put them more naturally because they can prove more of a risk.
Definitely.
So even they're local, is how they prepare the GMOs, etc. So the most.
Thankfully, our farmers are mostly, I would say, a lot of them are, you can call them organic farmers.
There you go.
So they don't use a lot of chemicals, or a lot of them don't use chemicals at all.
Herbicides, the pesticides.
Yeah, so we're definitely happy about that. And so I just want to also mention that this coming Saturday, the 24th, we have a virtual gospel concert, and that is featuring evangelist, gospel legend, singing legend, Bridget Blucher. And Bridget Blucher is a member of Essence of Hope, Breast Cancer Foundation. And so she's putting on this concert for us virtually. She's in the U.S. She's Vincentian by birth.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I know of her. I've never met her. So.
And so we're encouraging persons. It's going to be on our page on Facebook, as well as Bridget Blucher's page on Facebook, streaming live. And we also want to thank the cable, because the cable has come on board, and they will be live streaming the concert as well on their local channel 95 here for persons. And hopefully we should have a YouTube link as well that we can share with persons. So that's going to be this Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Gospel singer Bridget Blucher, she'll be doing a virtual concert for us in recognition of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and in support of Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation as well.
We also have a local Calypsonian who have a song called "To Be Cancer Free." I don't think I've ever heard that. Pardon?
Who, you?
Lady B.
Lady B.
Sorry, Lady Diva.
Lady Diva.
To Be Cancer Free. You need to listen to it. I performed the song in London some years ago. Standing ovation. A lot of people dig.
So
I have sung on Alzheimer's and cancer, all those social issues that people don't listen to. Pardon?
We need to hear it.
You need to hear it? Okay. I'm going to get you a copy.
Okay.
Because it could be played on this program. It used to be rare to hear anybody 30 or under succumb to the state of cancer in my land. Now in the span of one generation, we're recording so on. I change up diet. I speak to migration, immigration, food, stuff like that. It lays out the whole thing. And it goes like genetically modified food versus organic. What is organic? Right? They say organic food keeps cancer from your door. What is organic? Let me tell you, if you don't know it, is the way of farmers grew food before. They didn't use herbicides, pesticides, and so on. So I'm going to get your copy. Because the song don't get played on radio. These songs don't get airplay. It's a walk up and jump up. These songs speak to a health or lifestyle or changes. So I'm going to get you a copy. The song is called To Be Cancer Free.
To Be Cancer Free, eh?
Right?
That's good.
I know you're going to run out because you came to the half an hour, you done an actual hour.
Right,
And we're about to break for the midday newscast. If you can stay beyond that, great. If not, you got my contacts.
Yes.
Let's make an arrangement to meet again ASAP and continue the education.
Okay, can I just say one? I just want our wonderful members. I just want to say thank you to our wonderful committed members that makes up this group called Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. I can't thank them enough, and I'm so glad they're all on board. And we work so hard in order, to make this a success. So, Securities, we want to thank you for having us here this morning.
Thanks to WinFM again for hosting us. And just to remind everyone, the walk is on, our annual Pink Walk. It's Saturday, October 31st, 5:30 a.m., Caribbean
Cinema. And contact
Cinema.
to get on the walk is 664-8055.
That's right.
Call and connect, $30 per.
Yes, to register, you get a pink cap, wristband, which will get you refreshments at the end. And next Friday, the last Friday of every October, we call it Pink Friday. And that's where we ask the entire federation to paint the federation pink, wear something pink. We ask employers to give their staff
a
little chance, to wear pink. And we also ask the schools to come on board and to put something in the curriculum that day which speaks to cancer education, whether it's breast cancer or something else, but just give a little information on that. So thanks again.
On that note, we break for the midday newscast want to thank our guests and our listeners, and we'll be back on the other side.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
The High Court reserved its decision on the election petition filed by People's Action Movement candidate for constituency number 1 Ian Patches Liburd until October 30th. Mr. Liebert challenged the results of constituency number 1 in the June 5th general election that declared St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party candidate Dr. Jeffrey Hanley the winner by 24 votes. The PAM candidate pointed to the 98 rejected ballots, there were 6 spoiled ballots, for the election and claimed that a recount would prove that he was actually the winner of the constituency. The High Court, after weighing submissions from both sides, allowed the recounting of the ballots in the constituency and was expected to rule on the matter on Friday, October 16th. Wynne understands that Mr. Liebert is expected to withdraw his claim. Chairman of the Caribbean Examination Council, Sir Hilary Beckles, says a review of this year's controversial CXC exams proved they were conducted in a professional manner, but there is an urgent need for an evaluation of the current ecosystem. Speaking at a virtual press briefing on Sunday, October 18th, Sir Hilary said the draft report of the independent review team would be presented to regional ministers of government today, Monday, October 19th.
The meetings tomorrow and today will enable the review team to have the opportunity to finalize its report, which we are mindful to release to the public on Tuesday following the meeting of the management with the Ministers of Education. The management of CXC will then proceed to roll out a public engagement strategy to begin the healing process.
Officials introduced new measures to cope with the fallout of the coronavirus pandemic, including a 100% moderation of school-based assessments, or SBAs. The published results sparked consternation and protest action in some CARICOM countries. Some accused CXC officials of presenting flawed grades, prompting the establishment of the independent review team that submitted its report on Friday, October 16th.
I will now make a few comments, general comments, in respect of the general findings expressed in the draft report. That the CXC, the organization, did well within the context of the COVID pandemic to recommend and to have approved and to implement an innovative, modified examination strategy for the region. That the modified approach is educationally and technically sound. That the system of marking and the adjudication of performance and assessments is technically sound and quality assured. That CXC conducted its remit in a professional manner befitting its reputation and competence.
The CXC chair conceded that the handling of some issues by CXC officials contributed to the misunderstanding and anxiety.
That the public outcry, primarily from these stakeholders, originates largely in the notion of expected performance outcomes, where predictions were sometimes at variance with performance. That there were sometimes technical challenges in the examinations, communications between the CXC and some schools. That in some instances, CXC could have responded to these concerns from students and schools and parents with greater alacrity, notwithstanding the logistical and other technical challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. But critically, that all of these challenges, notwithstanding, the fundamentals at the CXC are sound, but that the relationships within the system must now be made more efficient.
The Caribbean Examination Council reports more than 2,000 requests for reviews of CAPE results and more than 2,500 requests for reviews of CSEC results. The cost of review has been cut in half to US $15 each, and if successful, a refund would be made. The council also said it would continue moderating 100% of the student-based assessments next year.
In this regard, within the 23 recommendation made, plus other recommendations derived from the meeting of the council following its discussion of the report, that there is now a very urgent need, an immediate need, to address all of the specific concerns raised by stakeholders, students, schools, principals, teachers, parents, and to address all of these within the regulatory structure of CXC that are provided for such discussions, to address them with immediate urgency. That it is necessary for the ecosystem to undergo an audit review. That is, all of the parts of the educational system in which CXC is a critical component, the relationships between all of these components must now be audited, reviewed, and enhanced.
According to an article on Newsweek, the Venezuelan-flagged Nabarima vessel has been sitting idly off the Venezuelan coast since January 2019. Pictures recently emerged showing the floating storage and offloading vessel floating at an incline, raising fears that it could spill its load into the Gulf, devastating the regional fishing industry and delicate ecosystems. The U.S. Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago has urged immediate actions to prevent a potential catastrophic oil spill in the Gulf of Paria off the coast of Venezuela, where a floating storage and offloading facility is reportedly undergoing repairs. The government of Trinidad and Tobago has reported in a statement released on October 16th that it is in continuous contact with Venezuela in the appearance of the warning that the oil tanker Nabarima, which carries more than 1 million barrels of oil, may overturn in the Gulf of Paria. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Affairs of the Caribbean Community in a press statement expressed that the government continues to be concerned about the warning that this event could have a negative impact to the environment. The Venezuelan government has indicated that the vessel was indeed tilting some time ago, but emphasized that they had conducted initial stabilization works on the Nabarima and that it is no longer in any danger. The department announced that a team of specialists are prepared to investigate the location of the ship carrying more than 1 million barrels of oil. Furthermore, the Foreign Minister of Trinidad and Tobago declared that it demanded authentication of the information by writing to the Venezuelan government to make its own decision on several incidents. Given this, the Venezuelan government then agreed to permit a team of Trinidadian experts to traverse the border and assess the Nabarima. However, Venezuela subsequently shifted from the initial position of this being done by the end of September to the current position, allowing the inspection team to receive permission to visit on October 20th. The Trinidadian government condemned Venezuela after an ambassador to Venezuela claimed on October 15th that the picture of the tilted ship was mere propaganda. The U.S. Embassy in Trinidad and Tobago demanded intervention in the marine accident, although no sanctions would be issued if a potential environmental situation occurred. However, the United States continues to be concerned about the possible danger to the safety and the environment caused by the vessel. The embassy also stated that Venezuelan state company Petróleos de Venezuela should take accountability for the event.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. Major parties bring out increasing large crowds as campaigning in St. Vincent reaches a crescendo. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Monday, October 19, 2020. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. With 2 more weekends of campaigning before general elections on November 5 in St. Vincent, The two major parties there are mobilizing increasingly large turnouts in what is expected to be a close election. On the weekend, both the incumbent Unity Labour Party and the New Democratic Party held separate and increasingly large gatherings in spite of official medical warnings against such amidst a pandemic. Most of the crowds packed closely together and largely maskless amidst scenes unlike what has been had in other Caribbean territories that had held elections during the pandemic. Observers say there appeared to have been a resurgence in the opposition's campaign in the last 2 weeks after the ULP of Ralph Gonsalves appeared to lead the early running in the campaign. The NDP is hoping to have the marginal seats of East Kingstown and North Leeward and gain either Central Leeward and North Windward, where it officially launched its team on Sunday night. The ULP went into the campaign with a tenuous one-seat majority, seeking an unprecedented fifth term. The NDP has proposed a citizenship by investment program, which leader Dr. Godwin Friday says will help bring new investments in the economy. Friday is also promoting an overhaul of the tax policies, promising to look at a reduction in value-added tax.
We are going to do a comprehensive tax review to see how it is that our taxes either stimulate growth or just punish people. When you do that, people will understand that the government is on their side. It is not just trying to put your hand in the pocket and take money out so that they could build parliament buildings and buy new cars for the Prime Minister and who else help.
Prime Minister Gonsalves says his party is fundamentally opposed to a CBI program, telling a rally in his constituency that it is a fundamental issue on the November 5 vote.
Between 1764 and 1795, for 31 years, Chatoyer and the Garfoon and the Kalinago fought the foreigners over the soul of this country. Chatoyer was defeated by superior arms. I will tell those foreigners this: we will fight to our death. We will never, ever sell our passport, our citizenship.
Gonsalves said the opposition's campaign is being controlled by promoters of CBI outside of the country.
The NDP campaign is controlled, paid for, and run by foreigners based in Switzerland and in Hong Kong, run by passport sellers. They hire the successors to SCL to try to steal up the minds of Vincentians. But I am telling them, if they put foot in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they will not leave here.
In Jamaica, People's National Party presidential aspirants Mark Golden and Lisa Hanna will receive the delegates list to be used in the November 7 internal polls to replace Dr. Peter Phillips, which will be conducted by the Electoral Office of Jamaica. So far, Golden and Hanna are the only two declared candidates and who have signed the code of conduct outlined by the party, committing them to a clean and fair campaign. The party's secretariat, headed by General Secretary Julian Robinson, is finalizing the list for distribution to the candidates on Tuesday. Just over a year ago, 2,778 delegates voted in the leadership contest featuring Dr. Peter Phillips and former Manchester Central Member of Parliament Peter Bunting. Phillips won by 76 votes, but went on to lead the PNP to defeat in September's general election. The PNP won 14 of the 63 seats. Some PNP sources say the current list is not expected to be more than 3,000 delegates. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the election will be conducted in parishes and under identical conditions employed by the EOJ for the general election, but on a smaller scale. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, the Caribbean Examination Council says there have been 2,353 requests for reviews of CAPE results and 2,550 requests for CSEC results. This was revealed at a press conference on Sunday. CXC Registrar Dr. Wayne Wesley said, however, that the number of reviews for ungraded in all territories amounted to less than 1% of the number of people affected. CXC Chairman Professor Beckles said CXC is expected to put in place a system for students to deal directly with the regional examination body, not necessarily with local registrars and the Ministry of Education. Professor Beckles said top priority would be given to students enrolled to enter universities in and out of the Caribbean. Usually, CXC marks a sample of the SBAs, but this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, almost 100% were moderated from across the Caribbean, a move CXC said that uncovered leniency by teachers. According to Beckles, the review found that students are being given false expectations about their performances, and so there would be a need for improved communication in the submission of grades, including workshops with teachers. The first in a series of marches to protest against plans to legalize same-sex unions in Barbados was held there on the weekend. More than 200 church members marched through the town of Holetown in the parish of St. James to send a message to the government that the church is not in agreement with making same-sex unions legal. According to Dr. Veronica Evelyn, the executive director of the Family Faith Freedom, the registered charity which organized the march, the gathering consisted of worshippers and leaders from different denominations. Meanwhile, the chairperson of the registered charity, Pastor Paul Leacock, said the series of marches would demonstrate the church's disagreement and request for government to reconsider and rescind its decisions to institutionalize same-sex unions in the country. Meantime, the Methodist Church in Barbados says it is sticking to the scriptures and has no intention of allowing its officials to marry same-sex couples. That was made clear in a statement released Sunday by Bishop Derek A. Richards of the Methodist Church of South Caribbean. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. Reporting this hour, I am Wendy Chateau.
We now bring you this international report.
French police raided Islamic associations and the homes of foreigners suspected of extremist religious beliefs Monday, according to police sources, 3 days after a suspected Islamist beheaded a school teacher. History teacher Samuel Paty was killed outside his school in a northern Paris suburb on Friday by an 18-year-old man who was subsequently shot dead by police. It comes after the country's top ministers attended a Security and Defence Council meeting with President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday night. Thousands gathered across France on Sunday to support teachers and defend freedom of expression. From Paris to Lyon, crowds gathered quietly, pausing regularly to applaud, hold minutes of silence, or sing the national anthem. Prime Minister Jean Castex attended the gathering on Place de la République in Paris. Earlier this month, Paty showed his pupils cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad in a class on freedom of expression, angering a number of Muslim parents. The attacker, who was of Chechen origin and was born in Russia, was not previously known to the intelligence services.
China's government is denying that it may arbitrarily detain foreigners in that country, following a media report that it had warned Washington it could detain Americans as a response to US prosecution of Chinese scholars. Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian on Monday.
I have noted relevant reports. The US claim that foreign nationals in China are under threat of arbitrary detention is playing the victim and confusing black and white. These malicious actions by the US severely damage the legitimate rights of Chinese citizens in the US and seriously disrupted the normal cultural exchanges between China and the United States. US actions have developed into outright political oppression, which not only violates morality, but also destroys its own image.
The comments follow a report by the Wall Street Journal on Saturday. It said that Chinese officials had issued repeated warnings to US government officials that China may detain Americans in response to the prosecution of Chinese military-affiliated scholars. The Trump administration has increasingly accused China of using cyber operations and espionage to steal US technological, military and other know-how. Beijing denies the allegations.
That was the Win FM headline news, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carrie Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much, much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
It's time now for the Win FM weather report. The weather today, sunny to partly sunny with a 20% or slight chance of brief localized afternoon showers. And by tonight, mostly fair. The winds are westerly with speeds of less than 10 knots, becoming variable or calm in places tonight. Seas 1 to 1.2 meters or 3 to 5 feet high. Sunset today will be at 5:46 p.m. and the sunrise tomorrow at 6:05 a.m. That was your winner from Weather Report.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
They had to leave. Of course, they intended to give me only 30 minutes, but of course, they stayed for a full hour. We got so much in-depth information that I would still like to share with you. There is the planned walk, which is one of the primary fundraisers. This will be held on the 1st of this month, the last day of this month. And for those who wish to join in that match, the numbers to call would be 664-8055 to participate. Once again, if you want to join in this match and you don't have any other contacts, the number to call is 664-8055. The match commences at the cinema complex up there in Berkeley's, and then you head on to the lawn in Frigate Bay via the bypass road, and there's shuttles that would take the folks who would park up at the complex, take you back to that point of demarcation. So that's on this Saturday. I think it's about 6 o'clock. They gather around 5:30, and then at some point in the morning they head off on that walk. So if you want to make a contribution to the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation, here's a chance to do so. Make a contribution to assist in a worthy cause. They also, while they want to show, pay tribute to Petula Skeet. Hometour is the daughter of the very, very famous Captain Skeet of the Sea Hustler fame, and declares that she assists many of the survivors, those who have had mastectomies with the prosthetic bras, etc. And the average cost for one of these braziers or this prosthetic bras would be in the vicinity of $200 US. Through the Essence of Hope Foundation, they can get you that for free. Miss Keats makes a donation, and they of course don't charge you for it. For the many females who would have undergone mastectomies and you need that assistance, the number to call would be 660-0152. That would be to the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Foundation. And you may have to speak to Pam or to the PR officer, Mr. Nato, or just have to speak to someone at the foundation. Once again, if you want to join the walk on the 31st of this month, which commences at the Cinema Complex up there in Buckley's, you continue along the bypass highway onto Kim Collins Highway into Frigate Bay. At the Frigate Bay Lawn, where there are some refreshments served, and there is a shuttle service that will take you back to your point of origin. I promise to be on that particular walk myself. I'm going to make sure I'm wearing a pink shirt and not my coral that I thought was coral, but I'm told no, it's I thought it was a fuchsia color. I thought it was pink. They said no, you're not even close. So I intend to be on that particular walk. I want to say hi to Brenda up there in Pittsburgh. I want to say hi to King Sweeney up there in the Washington area, and then we have King Miko. I'm going to get back to King Miko shortly. You have Dr. Chris Collins in the Sheffield area up there in the UK. He claims that the best place in the world to live, that he's actually logged on. We have Mr. Jeffrey Marisha, DJ Marisha, who missed the program last week because we started a bit late. So I know he's logged on to this show. Chris Collins I mentioned. And we have Avril from the Avril Show and New York Show. They're all logged on. We want to say a special hi to all the sanitation workers within the Federation. And back to King Miko. Let me see what I have here about King Miko. I woke up this morning and saw a notification. If I may read it. It says, King Miko recently had surgery on his left eye. This is what I'm reading, on his left eye. Now he needs surgery on his right eye. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist him. The donation of any amount is greatly appreciated. Thanks. And this is being accommodated by Elvin Hanley. He is supposed to be in Sacramento. There's a GoFundMe page. I'm trying to get more information for those who wants to assist. So far, they've raised some $940, and that's by way of 13 donors. They're asking people to make the donations. We have a sampling of donations, $25. That was received some 80 minutes ago. $50, I have the names of the persons, but they didn't ask to be mentioned. That donation of $50 towards this cause was received about 41 minutes ago. And then there's a donation of $75 received 1 hour ago via that GoFundMe page. And there's one there for $10. My suggestion was that a concert be organized and let the many Calypsonians make their contribution. And the gate proceeds be given to Mr. Crefton Warner for his operation. That's going on in aid of Mr. Crefton Warner, Mr. King Miko, trying to raise some $10,000 to assist in an operation on his right eye. If I may read again. King Miko recently had surgery on his left eye. Now he needs surgery on his right eye. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist him. The donation of any amount is greatly appreciated. Thank you, and they say God bless. So once again, I'm trying to find the contact information. I'm seeing what it says. It's done by Elvin Hanley, organizer, Sacramento, California. Let me try contacts what it gets. Okay, Elvin Hanley, this will list your name, your email address, your message, and send. So the page was sent to me by Wallace Wilkins, so that's how I got in touch with it. So I'm not sure as to exactly where you get that, or you can post your donation. I'm sort of close when it comes to phone. So that's it for King Miko, trying to raise funds to assist him in an operation. So Calypsonians, to the public at large whom he served, at home and abroad, please kindly make your donation. I don't mind being part of any sort of show or concert able to raise money to assist him in that cause. So that's as far as Miko goes. I mentioned earlier, for those who missed the show, that we had in the studio this morning two members. Actually, one is the founder of the Essence of Hope Breast Cancer Society, and Mr. Natter, who's the PRO. And we discussed quite a number of things. We discussed the fact that they offer you free screening, free mammograms. And I mentioned that a friend of mine had to wait to see an oncologist some time ago and paid whatever she paid to see that person, not knowing that this service is offered for free. So for folks who have those concerns, we spoke about some females who don't want to know. They don't want to, they have the fear of what if they may be the breadwinner of that particular family. I'm going to shut up and entertain this call. Call all your live on voices. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Secretary.
Speaking.
Yes. I thought, I don't listen to the program this morning, but I've just got news that we are paying for the decal from tourism.
The decal that was said you had to be able to pay for the decal. Is that on the vehicle or the
decal? The decal.
There are two.
The $40 decal.
Okay.
But you all didn't get to tourism and tell them that the drivers them get together when we had the meeting down there and said that we are making the money for the year and we should not pay for the decal?
I'm not sure we followed up on that. You're speaking about the president.
When we had the meeting down there on the Port Zante, we all agreed in the presence of the chief president that we have not made any money since the COVID started. And we are asking tourism to waiver the decal for us. And no, you all didn't get to them and to ask them to waiver the decal? We still have to pay for a decal and we're making the money we're operating?
That is what we pay normally, right, in October, roughly. I don't think we had a conversation with them.
But when we had the meeting, I thought you all would have written them a letter that we could have, they could have understand what taxman, because we have not get anything from tourism.
We were looking at
waiver anything for us.
We were looking for a general meeting with the tourism authority. That was the thinking, to get them in a meeting. There were a number of letters written and some meetings after that, but we have not got to the point where they will meet the entire body. I did write to Mr. Grant after we got the issue with the plexiglass or the plastic sorted out. And the next stage was to have a meeting with all the taxi drivers.
Okay. Yeah, but I think you all, as president, the chief president, should have even written a letter, because you know that we already had a meeting at Port Zante with taxi operators, right? And now I have just understand that we have to pay for the decal, which we all come to an understanding down there that we are not paying for the decal because we have not make any money, and we are asking for a waiver from tourism for that.
When you reply, if you don't remember, he don't know.
Petrol.
Yeah.
The guy in the back who's yapping. Right? Don't let him inspire you into any nonsense. We had the understanding. Well, yes, but you're talking to me and he's in the back asking you if I'm pretending I don't know.
Didn't you remember the meeting?
Yes, Petrol.
No, the reason why I called, because I tried to call all the president, them I was calling your phone and then somebody told me that you was on the radio.
Yeah.
Right? So I said this is a good time that everybody could listen in and hear, because we know we had a meeting asking for a waiver of the decal from tourism. Because we are not operating, we are making the money. We have been hit hard.
Petrol.
We have made no money for the year.
Petrol. The undertaking was to get a meeting with him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying that, okay, you all know that tourism already send out memo to ask to come to inspect the vehicles and everything, right? So you all should have done even written them a letter. So when this case come up, we could have said, hey, listen, we written you all a letter. We written you all a letter concerning the taxi drivers of the decal. But you all seem as though you all ain't do anything.
Petrol.
And now we are paying the penalty. We have to go pay for our decal.
Petrol.
Which is unfair. I want to believe that this is unfair. Because we have made no money for the year, they could have waived the decal and say, okay, this is what tourism is doing for the taxi drivers. We are giving them their decal free because they have made, but tourism ain't do nothing for us.
Petrol.
It's tourism, yes. Yes.
My first challenge was to go and address the plexiglass issue, which will have cost taxi drivers at least $700 to $1,000. Right? I called the NEOC. We arranged a meeting for them to come and see an alternate approach. You were here. Within 5 minutes, they agreed on it and said we could use the plastic and the Velcro, which cost you just over $200.
Yes.
Right? In the midst of all that, you had one of the presidents saying he would not sit with the minister. I went. Right? Having spoken to the NEOC and they agreed, I informed the minister. I requested thereafter we would have, I should say, at least one of the other presidents, a general meeting. My focus was the plexiglass thing was the issue. What we had from there, I did ask Mr. Grant for a meeting, but we want to put this thing in place first. So
yes, I agree with all of that because everything was.
You were calling from the circus with those guys in the background. Again, you want to tell you, well, I'm pretending. I'm not about that. As a matter of fact, I was leaving Sandy Point daily, coming to Bastia to ask taxi drivers to at least get themselves ready for work at the airport by installing, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yes, because listen, but we are falling in line. But the problem that we're having, the guy just came here and said he had to pay for his decal. That's the problem. We had a meeting down there at Port Zante at the arrival hall. And we all agree you had over 100 plus taximen there. And we all agree that we are not going to pay for the decal. And we agreed, and we was looking for you and the other two presidents to meet with the tourism minister, CEO or whoever, and let them know this was our standing because tourism down till today have not waived anything for taxi men. Where we are going to find money when we ain't making money? Every day we inside the taxi stand here. Some of us can't even make $20 for the day. You have over 400 plus taxi driver. Only that they could think about by making money. Well, what about we who ain't making money? And this is the argument that we have in. We have to buy plastic. We have to do everything. Hand sanitizer, garbage bin in our buses.
Petrol.
We are complying with everything that they are saying, but yet still, they cannot help.
Petrol.
Come on, you all as president, we need to get together and stand up.
Petrol.
It don't matter if you're going to got negative taxi drivers between, yes, we're going to understand negative taxi drivers between, but we can't punish the whole facility of the taxi drivers them for one negative or two negative person.
Petrol.
Yes, I'm listening.
I'm going to tell you once again. I got Mr. Grant to agree to undertaking of subsidizing the cost of the plexiglass. That was my major challenge. It would cost taxi drivers at least roughly about $1,000 to install that. I called the NEOC, along with the other presidents. We went and made a presentation for alternate approach, which they agreed to, which costs you just over $200. That's my primary thing. Then I asked for a general meeting. But prior to that, Mr. Grant agreed. He said, bring the thing to me and we'll see if we can subsidize it. There was no need to. Right? I made several trips in the circus trying to get taxi drivers to understand this you can do it. It costs you so much less. And with the pushback, me ain't doing none. Well, I back off. But in terms of the meeting that I was hoping to get with the ministry and taxi drivers, all these things would have been discussed. So to make it look like now we gave you a promise to go and discuss it with Mr. Grant and we drop it down, I take offense to that.
No, listen. I'm not
We were hoping to get a general meeting with Mr. Grant and all the taxi drivers for me to address all the issues.
But I'm
It
not
hasn't happened.
speaking about the plexiglass.
You're saying that we took an
system.
undertaking to go and speak about the decal, which cost you $40, and we haven't done it, so we let you down. That's what you're telling me.
Yes, I'm speaking about that because we all agree. Because at that time, the plexiglass system wasn't speak about into that meeting, right? We all agree that we're gonna ask tourism to waive this $40 because we're making nothing, and then the plexiglass system coming, we never meet again with that. No one meet with us. Is we have to find a way out of getting this system started out instead of going to spend over $1,200 for a plexiglass, and then you have to go buy plyboard, and then you have to go pay somebody to put it in and all these things.
Petrol.
We come up with the plastic.
I did that.
Was a good
You
idea. Right? But what I'm talking about, nobody have spoken to tourism concerning the meeting as far as I see down there, concerning of the decal. Tourism could have waived the decal for us. I mean, you want to say what is $40, go and pay it.
Petrol.
But what is $40 that we don't make at that time? We haven't made any money at all since the season thing. And this is something they need to understand. We don't really have to need a decal. Government already give us our license to be on the road. But we comply with tourism with their decal. The license for on the road, we must have a license for on the road. The tourism cannot tell us we can't drive our taxi on the road because we don't have a license. But they could have waived the decal for us. This is my argument. They could have waived the decal for us, seeing that we haven't make any money.
And the decal is $40, right?
And it's $40. That's right. I mean, $40, my son. Y'all go and pay it. Right? But it's unfair.
I see.
It's unfair. It's unfair for us to see that tourism, down till today, tourism have not meet with the whole body of the taxi system. Down till today, since the COVID started, down till today, tourism have not done anything to help taxi drivers.
They're listening,
we
Petrol.
are complying every time they say something. We are complying. We are the backbone of this country.
Can I share something with you?
Ambassadors, we are the backbone of this country.
Can I share something with you? Since
we have been hit so hard. You see the situation. Business places taking back in taxi buses because what? Because what? We don't have money to pay. I mean, they couldn't just comply with us and check our vehicle to make sure that we are up to date and giving us the thing. Who ain't thing? We have to go and pay still. I mean, come on, it's unfair. And you all as president, we are the ones that we bank on. I mean, you could say that you don't have to be in that position, but you was voted in that position to represent a body. And the body complained to you guys, and you have to take our complaint to them.
Petrol.
Yes, sir.
You remember how hard I had to preach to you to put in the plastic? Remember your first pushback? I put it in the plexiglass, blah, blah. You remember that? I had to coax you and appeal to you that I went to NEOC and spoke with them. They proved it. I informed tourism.
I was there
and they
when
agreed.
They proved it. I was there with you all when they
yes,
proved it.
But I had to twist you out because
because
initially you didn't want to take part in it. You remember that?
But I'm not speaking so much of the plexiglass because
as far as I see, I'm not trying to get on behalf of taxi drivers to save the money.
Listen, I know there's a cost to everything, right? There's a cost to everything. We have to do it because we, as taxi operator, we want to make money, so we're going to comply.
Listen again, right before, right? Listen again. I went to Mr. Grant, and forget that. While I was there, seated in front of Mr. Grant, there was a president on the radio saying they will never meet with him. I took my time, I went and sat with him. He said, Securities, bring it to me, we'll look at it to subsidize. Fine, we went beyond that. There was a meeting supposed to be having Mr. Grant, and he couldn't make it that day. Because what he said to me, he had a family emergency. Right? Other people said, disrespect, we're not going to meet with them again, blah, 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 blah. So there is it. You have presidents saying they will not meet with him, I am trying to bridge the gap. And you don't want to come and say it's because of we didn't go and make representation. I live Sandy Point. I don't have a source of income.
But Socrates, what I'm saying.
But I come up and I do my best every day. And you're saying now that I let you down because I didn't go and make representation of the grant on behalf of taxi drivers over 40
I'm not
bucks.
saying you alone.
I am saying there was supposed to be a general meeting.
Listen, I said the chief president.
We were pushing for a general meeting.
Yeah.
So all this could be trashed out there and then. It did not
After
happen.
the meeting, how long the meeting took place at Port Zante?
We're going to pause for
about nearly 6 months
we're going to
now
pause for
since the meeting took place at
a word
Port
from our
Zante.
sponsors. I'll talk to Wilkins Circus.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the month of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much, much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
At 2 minutes to the hour, 1 o'clock, we're back with Voices. My last caller there, of course, sort of intimating that as being one of the presidents of the Tax Association, we did not represent them properly on a particular issue of a decal number for your vehicle to operate annually on the port. It costs roughly $40. And his argument is that some months ago we had a discussion, and that was one of the items we were supposed to take back to the ministry to discuss waiving that particular fee or costs against the backdrop that we have not made any money since the arrival of COVID-19. I'm trying to say that amongst the things we discussed was to have a general meeting with the ministry, to discuss amongst those other things that has not happened as yet. But there were other things that took our immediate focus in terms of the installation of the plexiglass and plywood partition that was sort of mandated by the NEOC. I thought it was too cost prohibitive. It would be about maybe $1,000 to install, between $800 and $1,000 in the smaller vehicles, and probably about $1,000 in the bigger ones. So I made a call to Mr. Samuel from the NEOC. I suggested a different method, and the same person who called me, I got him to go, and within 5 minutes, they agreed to the second method. And so up until last week, he told me he was actually excited to show me whether I install it, and it cost me, with everything, even the automatic sanitizer, it cost me just about over $200. So compare that to about $800. That was about the cost. But my challenge was living in Sandy Point, coming to Bastille every day and talking to taxi drivers. Guys, you need to do this, you need to be ready. And the pushback, me not do none, this, that. After what I gave up, now they're finding out that tourism is saying you have to pay the cost, which is $40, which gives you license to operate at Port Zante, the airport, the hotels, etc. That's my fault, because I didn't follow up on that. There are 2 other presidents with larger membership, but it's my fault because we didn't follow up on that. I'm trying to say this was all part from that meeting, was to get a bigger meeting where the minister would meet with all the drivers and entertain. I wrote him on that, as a matter of fact. I wrote the minister asking for a meeting, but there were some other things that they needed prior to that, which they were discussing the new price list. That was the last thing we attempted. They wanted that by a certain time. And Mr. Brandy, who's president of the Limega Tax Association, Mr. Barry Daniels, he actually took in the copy, which we signed. And that was the last piece of correspondence. One of those persons have to say he's on vacation, he's done without taxi matters, and I myself have I'm trying to find ways, but I can't come in town every day and deal with taxi issues. As a matter of fact, I am told that I need to go to the government and challenge the fact that they allowed a certain entity to take back vehicles from. And I'm saying there are 11 persons, I am told, who would have lost their vehicles. Why can't they get together, form whatever, and go to whom the relevant authorities? Why do I have to do it? Oh, well, use presidents. When I look at the particular issues, I'm saying, but you see, okay, let me take this call. Call your 11 voices. Go ahead, call your 11 voices.
King Sakoti.
Yes, sir. How are you? How are you?
Sakoti, let me ask you a question. I got about 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I want this one here to synchronize first. Why is it so hard that you all as president got in a hard time to meet the tourism minister in important matters? Why? Why then? Why so hard?
One question.
The other one I want to talk about, do not pay some of them taxi men no mind. They must get up off the backside and do something for the world, yeah? You up and down trying to put things in place for them, and I'm very disappointed in Petrol, because Petrol should have meet you and try to understand what's going on instead of that.
Smile Orange.
People
He got Smile Orange to put him on the spot to call and ask me nonsense.
Have a good day. See you when I see you.
Right? Okay. In defense of the minister, Jamdam, I hope you're listening. There was a meeting planned for a certain day. Let me go back a bit further. One of the presidents wrote something in a particular chat we have with the ministry, saying how the minister haven't met with us at all. And he thinks it's disrespectful. So the minister asked for a meeting to meet with us. The particular person saying he's not going to meet with the minister because, okay. I said to him, fellas, we represent a membership. We represent a membership we have to meet. Okay? Next, Mr. Grant asks for a meeting, say, on a Monday. He said, let's meet on a Monday. About 11 o'clock. We're supposed to meet at, say, 1 o'clock. About 11 o'clock, Miss, forget her name now, but she calls to remind us that the meeting was on. Fine. I'm heading to Bastia. I'm just about to leave Sandy Point. Then we get a text. Gentlemen, our apologies. Something came up, the minister had to. So I contacted the presidents. And one of them thing was, I am not going to meet with the minister ever because it's disrespectful. Right? And the next day I went to meet with the minister. And he said, I had an emergency. I won't go into the details. The meeting wasn't cancelled. It was postponed from one day to the other. 5 minutes to the meeting, Miss Marshall called me, Securities, who's come to the meeting? I said, I am coming. Because we represent a membership. I went, I sat with the minister, and we discussed certain things. I said, Securities, bring it to me. I will look to it, and we'll try to subsidize it. Okay? So, I went to the NEOC, we got them to prove the different method, and it's passed. So now taxi drivers can save themselves some money in terms of installing the other method rather than the plexiglass. But his initial response was, I will subsidize it. And he said to me, imagine, you guys asked for a meeting. I said, yes. But you push back, you don't want a meeting. I arranged for Monday. Just before the meeting, I got a call. I had a family emergency. So I postponed from one day to the next. And based on that, you don't want to meet with me. But I was thinking, in terms of the decal, the best thing was to have the minister come to a general meeting and address everything. He answered all the questions. But when you have presidents who don't want to meet with him and have that attitude, you cannot blame the minister entirely. So he was negligent first meeting with us. He says, okay, you asked for a meeting, let's meet. I'm not going to meet with the minister. Okay, let's meet. On the next day, on a Monday, fine. On our way to the meeting, something came up. And based on that, they're not going to meet again. So when you guys coming at me, saying I didn't represent all you and the minister had to come by, I'm not on board with that. There's a body we have to represent. Let's say this call. Call 11 voices.
Securities, no one put me up to call in. Nobody even know I was calling in. Okay?
I heard them in the background egging you on.
Listen me first. It's just that because I was in the area of where the man be and they recognize I was calling in, they get involved in everything. But no one know that I was calling in. And tell Manos, right, that no, he cannot be disappointed in me. I am fighting for my rights. Tourism had promised us, I don't know if you're going to mean that everything will be waived. We don't even have to pay for the decal they're going to give us after the training.
When did they promise you that?
All of that, they did say everything was going to waiver. They said that. No, let me deal with it because they may think that you are encouraging me to say things. Right?
What they said to me.
I'm talking about the decal.
The travel approval thing would be.
Securities, listen me. Because you're taking things out of the context. I call you to speak to you concerning the decal that we speak about at the arrival hall. All of us came to the agreement that we should not pay no decal for the year because we have not made any money. You all were supposed to take that into tourism with the meeting that you all said that you would meet with the minister. You saying you all have not meet with him. So all that is on you, David, and the other president, Barry, right? So do not take it out of context that I call in to cause something. It's after today that I found out that we have to pay for the decal. And we all agreed. You was there when we agreed because you was the chairman of the meeting. We all agreed. So don't come with that. You all were supposed to take it back to tourism and say, this is what the taxi drivers them said. They do not want to pay for the decal because we have not make any money for the year. And now we have to pay for it. That is my argument. You're talking about plexiglass and plexi this and plexi. I'm talking about that. That will have its own matters to deal with. I'm talking about the decal. Because we all have to get the decal. And you all was there. You all was there when we come. It's saying that it's something that we didn't discuss. You cannot say we didn't discuss it. And we have learned from that, from the CEO or one of them there, that everything will be waived for us. So we could just come, go to the training, and we will get our decal, and we will operate because we haven't been making any money. That is my argument. That is my argument.
You finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
So, if they made that, if tourism made that promise to you, as you just said, that everything would be waived, why then would we have to go make representation for them to not charge you?
No, they are charging us. But when we had the meeting, this is what I'm saying. When we had the meeting, I'm going to answer your question. When we had the meeting, didn't you all agree that you all will go to tourism and we shouldn't pay any?
You going to answer mine first?
We didn't agree.
Are you going to answer mine first? I just asked a question. You said that they promised you that everything would be waived. You just said that? Did you just say that tourism promised you that everything would be waived?
That is what the CEO said on the radio.
Well, then, if she said that, why then would we have to go make representation on that again? If she promised you
why? And it happening. It happening. A taxi driver just here say they have to pay for the decal.
Petrol. What they promise you that
you all didn't meet with them after the meeting. You all did not meet with them after the meeting. And then you see, this is what has happened. When we saying that, tourism is not studying us.
Petrol.
But it coming from the president then.
Petrol.
If you all can't agree, it better we just get new president. Because we need representation.
Petrol.
We just can't go and represent ourselves. We need representation.
Petrol.
And that's the reason why you call it, to let you know what is going on.
What was promised to you is that you will not pay for the travel approved seal.
Yes.
That is what was promised to you.
Yes, they said we have no.
That you would not have paid for
right?
that.
We have, right, I understand that, right? But we had the meeting at Port Zante. This is where I keep asking her. Did we have a meeting at Port Zante? Secretary?
You think we had one?
We didn't have a meeting at Port Zante.
You think we had one?
We didn't have a meeting at Port Zante where we meet with our taxi drivers.
You know the answer to that?
Yes.
Okay. So you ask me again.
We didn't agree that we're not going to pay for the decal for the year.
No.
We didn't agree.
Because I couldn't give you that accounting, that undertaking. Thank you. Lost a caller. And the band plays on. What a situation. The caller, your live on voices. Go right ahead. We lost a caller. Caller, are you there? Okay. We would have lost our caller. Heated debate, heated discussion. We're hearing that tourism promised to waive all the charges this year. Yet at the same time, we're supposed to make representation. Whatever was discussed there, the thinking was to get the minister to come and address all the issues I wrote the minister regarding. But there are a number of issues that would have taken place between then and now why the meeting didn't take place. Right? Now listen. So if the CEO, according to him, gave them the promise that everything would be waived, why then would I have to go and ask about the decal? I've been hearing about it. Whatever was discussed at the meeting, the thing was to get the minister in a general meeting. That was attempted. That was discussed. I wrote the minister according. One day. So while he was on the radio saying he's not going to meet with the minister, I was sitting in front of the minister. Take the call if you can, please.
Good afternoon, Securities. How are you doing?
Not too bad for old man yourself.
I drink some water.
Yes.
Drink some water and put some in your mouth.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
No, I'm doing fine, man. Giving God thanks. Tell them wait until you come off the radio.
I understand you. I understand it.
If one person was speaking, other people would understand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did the taxmen get any of the stimulus package?
Some did.
I was wondering.
Some did. And here's what happened. The Prime Minister said that he would give it to everyone affected. Everyone, I mean all the taxi drivers. I think that was the issue with the language because we later learned that only those who were registered as self-employed workers back then. I happen to be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, based on that, I qualified. But I challenged them. I challenged them and said, based on what the PM said, that covered everyone. I fought on behalf of everyone. And I go to the taxes, to the circus and say, well, are you president? Are you represent us? What are you talking about? I challenged the PS Henry, the CEO, Mr. Gwander, said you have to pay it based on what the PM said. So it was the language that he put out there initially. And so what happened was it was determined only those who were self-employed. And what he would tell you, I know you're going to give me F because, no, you're chatting nonsense. I got to represent everybody. Now I'm hearing how I didn't got to represent them on the decal issue. Eh? But anyway. You got
make peace.
I try. You have the mic. Go ahead.
And because I want to know, say $40.
Imagine that.
$40. But I mean, I understand, people have been spoiled. No, we don't want no personal responsibility. I think I put the blame on the Prime Minister, You see what Chastina say, Lucia say? They broke.
The books. Can't do it.
I think what would happen if one morning Dr. Timothy Harris wake up and say we broke? After they would have given everybody everything free.
It may come to that.
Yeah, because I hear people saying, they want pep and they want stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
Our people still ain't getting it. I thought it was like some hundreds and something. When I hear $40, I Lord Jesus. And maybe the association might have to pay for it on behalf.
The association don't have any savings. As a matter of fact, we had a
You
group
are broke
insurance. We blocked. Because a lot of the membership, a lot of the members don't pay the membership.
I know, you know.
You know.
And even some of them right now have not even gone to register yet, the Social Security. You know? Our people, we just unique, as Lord could say.
I became president of the St.
Well,
Saxon
that goes with the
Cooperative.
territory, so take it in good stride, you know.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're trying our best.
No, take it in good stride, you know.
Yes, yeah.
When people are frustrated, they beat out at anything. Once you understand that, you take it in good stride.
I do.
The position, go with it, you know. Somebody has to take the blame. If it got to be you, well, you take it. You understand?
Uh-huh.
And then just tell them, find the $40.
Me?
No, that is how I would deal with it, you know. I say, I understand where you're coming from. You either go down to the person who made the statement and find out.
The $40 is a decal that allows you to operate on the port. Say you've been inspected by tourism board. Now they're saying, well, I own my vehicle. I don't need to do that. Okay? That's the attitude. I own my vehicle. Tourism will own it. But it's saying in order to operate on the port, your vehicle must be examined by the tourism authority and given a pass by way of a decal. If you don't have that decal, you cannot work on the port because the officer will say you can't work here.
It's plain and simple, you know. Because look, one person couldn't make a ship turn back.
Okay.
I think sometimes we don't understand. We understand. We just look. Kitchens, all of us. I think we're born rebels, you know. I think so. Because we protest over everything.
The idea was to have the minister come and address everybody rather than be a go-between from meeting on meeting.
Corona.
It
the issue wasn't before the corona.
Pardon?
The issue of the decal
was probably because it's every October.
Yeah.
So this year,
and I heard the issue and hoeing on this and hoeing on that.
At the start of every season, you are required to pay it in order to operate. They say, well, nothing come, the ship come in, we're not making any money, so we shouldn't pay it. So that was the undertaking. I thought the best that the minister...
Because if you don't do it, you still can't operate, and if something happens, you don't get. We got to be logical. I mean, I really thought it was a lot, to tell you the truth, you know? $40.
And then the circus edging the fellow on. Oh, don't believe him. He pretend I can hear them.
Anyway, forget the part.
Talk to me.
They were glad to be on the radio. Take it in good spirit.
You're just trying to get into because
don't even bother go down there and argue. They already made the point. They make the point. The lady gave them a promise. Let them go to the lady. That's all.
Well, that's the point.
We are the other two presidents.
That's a good question.
Anyway, when you put yourself up in position, not you or whatever, you have to take the responsibility. So take it in good spirit.
Much appreciated.
All right, then.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's 20 minutes past. And we have a call online. Caller 11 Voices. Caller, are you there?
Yes, good day.
Good day, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. I hope this is not a case of divided loyalties, you know. If you are representing taxi drivers, you are expected to reflect the views of the majority of them, of the membership, right? Full stop. Otherwise, relinquish the post. Now, I can't believe that the government is going to resist giving a concession of $40 to taxi drivers. You got to be kidding. I mean, how many taxi drivers are there so that it should become such a big issue? The amount collected from $40 a taxi driver is minuscule compared to the revenues government is collecting, right? And you don't give money in one hand and take it from the other. That's irritating, right? That's upsetting. Okay, if you're going to help people, help them. Don't do it grudgingly. Okay, and I don't understand, like Manners said, the difficulty in meeting with tourism officials, whether it's Mr. Grant or who else, right? I mean, taxi drivers is.
Did you hear me respond? Did you hear me respond to that, Charlie by Manners?
Basically saying what?
No, so you didn't hear me respond to Manners. Let me inform you again.
Oh.
Okay? There was a post in one of our chats that said Mr. Grant was not meeting with us. Within 2 days, Mr. Grant, through his delegates, asked for a meeting. One of the presidents said they're not going to meet with him because he's only responding.
Because he's only what?
He's only responding because he posted that. Fine. I said, gentlemen, we represent a membership. We can't take that position. Okay? So a meeting was slated for on a Monday. Just about 2 hours before the meeting time, we were reminded of the meeting. Okay? Then an hour after, the call and said, we apologize, something came up. Can you meet tomorrow instead? And with that, some people say, well, no. I went. So it's not a challenge that we can't find a minister. Something came up.
Okay,
I answered Manners with that.
But hold on. At the outset, you're saying that some members felt that they only agreed to a meeting because something was posted?
So
there was some difficulty before? Is there some kind of hostility between the
No. What the person felt that since COVID hit, we only had one meeting at the Marriott and there should have been follow-up meetings. I am not going to use the word hostility. There was none.
Okay. Did you agree with him that there should have been follow-up meeting, that there should have been something ongoing?
Of course. But I didn't.
So why wasn't there a follow-up meeting?
Why wasn't there a follow-up meeting?
Yeah.
I'm not in the mind of the minister. A member said, since that meeting we have met and we should have. Okay? So we held a general meeting with all the taxi drivers. And from there, the approach was to get Mr. Grant to meet everybody. That has not happened. I wrote, and it said in that letter, you'll be able to field questions. Because to go from the membership to Mr. Grant and back and forth, one general meeting, you adjust everything.
Right.
But I would say, due to the cause of some of the things that has happened.
But why since taxi drivers are such a big stakeholder, they've held meetings with employees of hotels and that sort of thing. What is the difficulty here?
Well, that was a sentiment that we are this important, but you're not having a meeting with us. So let's say eventually they agreed to. Let's say eventually. So I'm not defending the ministry or whatever. So if that was the thinking, fear. Having agreed to it eventually, and you just said you're not meeting because they're only responding because. And then when the meeting is set up and change from one day to the next, we are meeting because that's disrespect. It's a two-way street. Meet with the minister and hammer him.
Yeah,
but I agree with
that. Don't call off the meeting.
Right.
Because I agree.
So from those discussions,
I agree.
From those discussions, we would have been able to address all the issues with the decal because it was a general meeting to be. But if you don't have communication from the top, we go to the circus, I get stick with all you this are not supposed to represent. I am now told, but for the drivers who lost their vehicles, I should go to the minister and protest and make representation. I'm saying, but for the guys who lose their vehicles, why don't they form a body?
These are your members.
Some are members, some are not. No. Most of them are not members.
You're supposed to represent their interests.
Most of them are non-members.
Oh, they are non-members.
But Securities will use Sandy Point and come to Bastia and go and challenge Mr. Grant. How dare you allow XYZ to take back the vehicles?
Well, maybe they feel they have a lot of influence.
Let's get real.
You
understand?
They're trying a thing. But in the final analysis though, you all are having a meeting, right? One is scheduled, right? Between the ministry and all the taxi drivers.
I could only write again and ask for one.
But they should not be pulling teeth. As a matter of fact, the department should be approaching you. You shouldn't even have to write for asking for a meeting. They should be approaching you with suggestions for a meeting. I don't understand this. That's why I asked if there's some hostility between
Not as far as I know.
department and the taxi drivers, because
There are
this doesn't
frustrations.
sound like
There are
a well-oiled-
frustrations, and there's some politics involved, because I know some of the guys in circus in the background talking. I know they're slant.
Yeah, so what?
So there's some. No.
I'm
Don't
sure
say
that,
what.
listen,
You ask about
listen,
hostility.
This is a matter. This is a
You
matter.
ask about
of-
hostility.
This is a
I
matter
said, no,
of
there's
their
some
livelihood.
frustrations.
Wait, Socrates.
Go ahead.
This is a matter of their livelihood. So, I am sure, right, that the last thing they want to play with now is politics, right? This is a matter of survival for them. So, of course, if they hear that their issues are being discussed on the radio, of course they would listen, and of course they would intervene. They would want to intervene, right? So I wouldn't hold that against them.
I'm not
But
holding anything against anybody.
Going forward, though, what's important going forward, though, is you all have this meeting, you all flash out these things, and I totally agree with them that they should not accept this kind of penny pinching from the government. Not $40. Goodness. That's crazy. That is nonsense. Total nonsense.
I hear you. I think this calls for further discussion. And this will be at the ministerial level, because I can't be a go-between between them, ourselves, and the ministry, and back and forth. So the approach was, let's have a general meeting. For whatever thing it hasn't happened, but that was the approach.
That's obviously
But I
needed.
did not give undertaking that I'm going to go to the ministry and get them to waive the $40. I did not give that. My approach was, let's have a general meeting and all the concerns be trashed out there.
No, but
So now somebody have to go and pay now.
But it sounded though that you gave the undertaking. It sounded as if you all arrived at a consensus that the $40, as far as you are concerned, the $40 should not be paid. And so that is where the starting point of negotiating with the ministry. That's where the starting point should be. Correct?
And the presidents agreed,
even though you cannot,
that
even
we
though you
would get
cannot
the
give an
minister to come
undertaking.
and meet the general body and deal
That's
with
what
all
I'm
these
saying.
issues.
You're supposed to represent your taxi drivers, and if they came up with the consensus that this is the position they're taking, that is what you are supposed to present. You are supposed to go in to the meeting with that position in mind. Not try to be. No, you are not an what you call it, an honest broker, or what you call it, a go between the taxi drivers and the ministry. You represent the taxi drivers. You see, I think that's why he was taking you to task.
I know.
Let's
leave it at that. Let's say you're right, let's say he's right. My approach still is that we should have a general meeting where the minister come and address all the drivers, and you trash it out there.
Yeah.
Okay?
So yeah.
we
Okay. That's what you should be
we
working
should agree
on.
on that one.
Yeah, right.
Fair enough.
Okay,
fair enough. We're just about to have it. Let's take this last caller. Caller 11 Voices. Caller 11 Voices.
Yes. Good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir. What though?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I want to debunk the caller there before me. He chatting some nonsense, and he accused you, saying that
I know.
you're not honest.
I know. Not that's not quite what he said. That's not quite what he said, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from. And you see how quick he jumped on and it said that the minister must meet the taxi driver them and to have a meeting with him. No, it's who have the concern, the board, supposed to ask to have a meeting with the leader, the minister. When the 1935 strike started on Buckley's estate where I'm from, the cane cutters them had the problem, and they asked the manager, Mr. Dobridge, to have a meeting with him. And when they tell him their grievances, he refused to give them what they deserve and what they asked for. Not the manager went up in the cave and tell them to have a meeting. So how the man they could come on and talk about the minister was supposed to go meet them? The guys, the taxi drivers, they have the problem. They are the ones who feeling the burden. So they have to go somewhere where they can get justice.
We're going to sort it out, okay?
Yeah, but you see, he's a negative. He never have nothing positive to say about the country.
That's
Craft,
okay.
man.
Is it
okay, thank you.
Okay, want to thank you. and all the others for their calls, their contribution. I'm sorry that Yatas could not get in because he has a lot to contribute to this particular discussion. And so hopefully we'll get it sorted within the next couple of days. Chris Collins up there in Sheffield and all the folks who are trying to make the contribution. All right, I'm told I can take one more call. Caller, let's make it beautiful. You're live on Voices. Ouch. Okay, we were attempting that last call, but we would have lost that person. And on that note, I want to say thanks to the management, to our sponsors, all the folks who made this program today possible. Hopefully next